Chapter 560. Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi slapped their palms together and made an oath, setting up various treaties of cooperation and alliance. He was preparing to set off and travel around the north, south, east, west and north regions as well as the great wilderness. He wanted to find the immortals who had descended from the immortal world to this plane and decide who would be given the quota. As for the immortals who committed atrocities, Jiao Lanzi would kill them. All the treasures from the immortal world would belong to Xiao Han. This can be considered as using each other. Cooperating with immortal Jiao Lanzi is like asking a tiger for its skin. However, if I think about it carefully, the benefits to me are also great. Xiao Han silently pondered and weighed the pros and cons. Brother Jialan, if that's the case, I'll have to trouble you to temporarily stay in my Six Peaks mountain range for a few days. Once I'm ready, I'll leave the mountain with Brother Jialan. Xiao Han said with a smile. It is a blessing to be able to stay in such a beautiful place for a few days, Jiao Lanzi said happily. He seemed to like the geomancy of the Six Peaks mountain range. In that case, let me bring Brother Jiao Lanzi to the mountain peak where we receive our guests. That place has a few acres of fish ponds, a few evergreen trees, and a few strands of flowers and grasses. The beauty of nature is extremely close to that of the mortal world. I believe that Brother Jialan will definitely like it. Wu Li also said politely. Excellent, excellent. Jiao Lanzi was overjoyed. Night, Xiao Han's true inheritance mountain peak. In the living room. After Mo Qingtong coaxed Xiaoan to sleep, she gently placed him in the cradle. Afterwards, she sat down together with Xiao Han, Princess Mo Hen, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue. Xiao Han had already told his wives about Jiao Lanzi's visit and the current situation of the plane. Uncle, I can't believe immortals really came to our Unity Mountain range. I wonder what immortals look like and if they're any different from us mortals. Hee, Uncle, I'll go see immortals with my own eyes tomorrow. Although Jing Yanxue had already become a charming young woman, the mischievousness of a young girl had not changed in the slightest. At this moment, her big eyes flashed as she curiously looked at Xiao Han. Yanxue, don't mess around. Why are you going to see immortals? Don't be fooled by the fact that your true chi cultivation is outstanding, but in front of an immortal, you're still too weak. If anything goes wrong, Sect Master and Xiao Han won't be able to protect you, Mo Qingtong reprimanded him slightly. It's all right. Xiao Han gently embraced Jing Yanxue. Immortal Jiao Lanzi, who came to our Pure Rain sect, is rather friendly. In truth, although immortals are superior to us mortals, the world of immortals is the same as that of us mortals. There will be many battles. Immortals have emotions, desires, and ambitions. Of course, there are also kind-hearted immortals. The most troublesome thing is that more than 300 immortals will descend from the 200 slots. When the time comes, it'll be hard to avoid trouble and conflicts. Moreover, some immortals don't have a good reputation in the world of immortals to begin with. Xiao Han, do you really plan on going down the mountain with Jiao Lanzi to distribute the spots? Immortals are arrogant and unruly. When the time comes, will they make things difficult for you? Mo Qingtong said worriedly. Yes, this person will definitely not listen to my orders and will definitely make things difficult for me. Pestering me endlessly, even threatening and enticing me. Xiao Han laughed. Therefore, I must cooperate with Jiao Lanzi. The key question now is whether or not Jiao Lanzi can protect him. If he can't defeat those infamous immortals, I'll suffer as well. After a pause, Xiao Han became spirited and said seriously. Going down the mountain this time and interacting with immortals is also a kind of training for me. In a few years, the exploration of the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove will inevitably lead to confrontation with immortals. It's not a bad thing to get used to it in advance. My ambition is not just to be the king of this plane. Sooner or later, I will fight with immortals. Being a yes man and fearful of immortals for my entire life is not my character. Moreover, I will take advantage of this opportunity to obtain immortal treasures. To plunder the treasures of some immortals. Perhaps I can also find an opportunity to increase my battle strength. Right now, my battle strength is far from any of the immortals that descend. If I enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove like this, it's no different from asking for humiliation. Go down the mountain. I've already decided to go down the mountain. I support you. Princess Mo Hen suddenly said firmly. In the next moment, all the girls nodded. In these few days, Jiao Lanzi indeed stayed in the Pure Mountain range. He was also very easygoing. Every day, he played chess with Wu Du and occasionally expressed his views on mortal martial arts. He got along very well with the upper echelons of the Pure Cloud sect. After Jiao Lanzi saw Xiao Han's son, Xiaoan, he liked him very much and gave a small flying sword to Xiaoan. This flying sword was given to Jiao Lanzi by an elder of the sect when he was young. After refining it with a drop of blood, it could be kept in the body. When fighting, the flying sword could change according to one's will and cut off the head of a person 1,000 miles away. It was very powerful. Of course, Shaoan was still young and could not refine this flying sword for the time being. The flying sword was kept by his mother Mo Qingtong. 5 days later. Finally, Shaohan and Jiao Lanzi were ready and were about to go down the mountain. Many of the Pure Rain sect's true disciples, led by Wu Yu, Xiao Mingchu and the others, came to send them off. Their faces were filled with worry and concern. Shaohan's wives and Yen Lang looked at Shaohan nervously. Shaoan also began to cry. "Shaohan, be careful," Wu Du said seriously. "Don't advance rashly. The entire plane is centered around you. If anything happens to you, the plane will be in danger." Xiao Mingchu, Fang Ling and the others were also full of concern. Shaohan's wives could not help but start sobbing. "Ugh. There's no need to make it look like we're parting forever, right?" Shaohan did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, he also deeply felt the concern of his family, and a warm feeling welled up in his heart. Suddenly Shaohan said very seriously, "Don't worry, I will definitely come back alive. Moreover, the spot to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure is in my body. The immortals will not dare to harm my life. Everyone, please don't worry about Brother Xiao," Jiao Lanzi also said solemnly. "With me, Jiao Lanzi, protecting Brother Xiao, I will definitely protect Brother Xiao. I will not let any other immortals touch a single hair of Brother Xiao." After a pause, Jiao Lanzi looked at Shaohan again. "Brother Xiao, let's go. Don't worry, I will release a strand of divine will to protect the Pure Mountain Range. If there is any danger in the Pure Mountain Range, I will be able to teleport over immediately to protect you." Shaohan nodded slightly. Shaohan also released a strand of divine will to protect the Pure Mountain Range. If there was any emergency, Shaohan could move like an illusion and directly return. Just like that, the two reluctantly bid farewell to the Pure Mountain Range and descended the mountain. Shaohan was dressed in a white robe. His hands were empty and he did not carry any weapons. However, he wore a few storage rings on his hands. He was calm and composed as he walked in front. As soon as Jiao Lanzi descended the mountain, he changed into a thick cloak and a mask. His entire body was covered tightly, leaving only a pair of eyes outside. He walked barefoot like a monk who had achieved Tao. At this moment, Shaohan suddenly discovered that Jiao Lanzi had already completely concealed all the immortal qi in his body. Not a single trace of it was leaked. His every movement and temperament were completely no different from that of a mortal. Shaohan clicked his tongue in wonder. He couldn't help but release his divine will to scan Jiao Lanzi's body. After careful observation, he discovered that Jiao Lanzi's disguise could be said to be perfect. Under Shaohan's careful observation, he could not find any flaws at all. Even Jiao Lanzi's heartbeat, breathing rate and skin temperature were exactly the same as a mortal's. "Brother Xiao, I will hide by your side. When I don't need to make a move, I will be well behaved, hee." Jiao Lanzi laughed. "That's fine." Shaohan also nodded. "Then, let's start the search from the Pure Mountain Sect's territory in the Beacon Fire Empire. We will search for the immortals scattered in the Beacon Fire Empire. Everything will be decided by Brother Xiao. From this moment on, I will be a pawn by Brother Xiao's side," Jiao Lanzi said with a faint smile. At this time Shaohan's heart trembled slightly. "We are going to search for immortals. Brother Jiao Lanzi has no intention of making a move. Does he want me to try and find the immortals scattered everywhere? Is he deliberately testing me? If it was any other mortal, finding 300 immortals in such a large plane would be countless times more difficult than finding a needle in a haystack. But I, Shaohan, can easily sense immortal qi. Alright, Brother Jiao Lanzi, I will let you see the wonders of I, Shaohan. You don't need to make a move. I, Shaohan, will naturally be able to find the immortals." Thinking of this, Shaohan's heart settled. Then he silently released his immortal qi, covering the entire Beacon Fire Empire from all directions. Carefully sensing the immortal qi. And Jiao Lanzi was indeed testing Shaohan on purpose. He wanted to see if Shaohan could accurately find the immortals among the countless mortals in the vast sea of people. One had to know that the immortals that descended this time would mostly conceal their immortal qi and blend in with the mortal world. To find them would not be an easy task. At this time, Shaohan's body slightly moved. Then, his immortal qi stopped at the border of the Beacon Fire Empire. In a small city bordering the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire, Shaohan discovered a faint immortal qi rising. This strand of immortal chi is extremely faint, but it is extremely lively and elegant. If it wasn't because of the talismans left behind by the immortals in my heart and the 10,000 immortal grand formation that is overflowing with immortal chi, causing me to soak in immortal chi for a long time, I definitely wouldn't have discovered it. Yes, there's no mistake. In the small city bordering the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire, there must be an immortal. Brother Jialanzi, this little brother has discovered something. Xiaohan turned around and smiled at Jialanzi. Oh. Jialanzi was surprised. If this little brother didn't guess wrongly, there is an immortal hibernating in the small city bordering the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire. There's no time to lose, let's hurry there immediately. Boom, all of a sudden, the true acupoints on Xiaohan's body overflowed with colorful lights. True chi soared into the sky and casually transformed into an ice-horned dragon. Xiaohan leaped onto the dragon's head and beckoned to Jialanzi. Brother Jialanzi, come on up. No way. Brother Xiao really discovered an immortal hibernating in the mortal world? It is indeed in the small city bordering the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire. That's right. TSK, Brother Xiao is truly mystical. Among the mortals, no one can compare to you. Jialanzi secretly admired. One man and one immortal, riding on the ice-horned dragon formed from Xiaohan's true chi, flew with the speed of a flowing light towards the small success realm enshrouded with immortal chi. To be continued. Chapter 561. Whoosh, the ice chi dragon turned into a cold flame and crossed the vast territory of the Beacon Fire Empire with extreme speed, heading straight for the Blazing Sun Empire. At this moment, high up in the sky, the heavenly wind roared. The momentum was extremely shocking. Xiaohan stood still on his dragon head, allowing the heavenly wind to blow on his body. The heavenly wind, which could uproot trees and destroy mountains, hit Xiaohan's body like a hammer, but instead, Xiaohan's body directly exploded. The embryonic form of the Thunder God Tyrant body and the Starry Sky Dominator body was no trifling matter. Jialanzi, on the other hand, was calm and at ease. His body did not release any energy fluctuations. However, before the winds reached his body, they quickly separated from his left and right sides. It was a spectacular sight. Brother Xiao, your physique already has a trace of the embryonic form of an immortal body. I'm sure there's a rare special physique in your genes. Amazing, truly amazing. It seemed that Jialanzi did not know that Xiaohan had relied on large amounts of immortal pills to condense the embryonic form of an immortal body. Mortals did not have the fortune to enjoy immortal pills. This was common sense, and Jialanzi naturally would not think in this direction. I'm far from even a level 1 immortal body. What's there to talk about? Xiaohan laughed self-deprecatingly. Brother Xiao, no need to feel inferior. With your talent, becoming an immortal is only a matter of time. Moreover, Brother Xiao has an immortal affinity. There was no doubt about this. To be able to find an immortal hidden in the vast sea of mortals, this was definitely an anomaly. Brother Xiao is a genius with a special sense for immortal chi. This is the foundation of immortal ascension. When Brother Xiao's true chi cultivation reaches the level of opening the heavenly eye, because you have an immortal affinity, it is easy to comprehend. Welcome the great tribulation of immortal ascension. Everything will come naturally. Jialanzi said seriously. Xiaohan only smiled. Brother Jialanzi is too polite. I can sense the aura of immortals in the small cities bordering the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire. However, Brother Jialan and I are so close, yet I am unable to sense the dormant immortal chi on Brother Jialan's body. Brother Jialan is the one with true ability. In the immortal world, you must be a super genius who enjoys a great reputation. Ha ha, Jialanzi laughed heartily. Brother Xiao thinks too highly of me. Alright, we're almost at the city. I'd like to see which sect's immortal is hiding here. Hidden Dragon City. One of the major cities bordering the southern region's Beacon Fire Empire and Blazing Sun Empire. The people of this city were swift and fierce. Many of them were peddlers and commoners. They cultivated the martial way and had strong bodies. In the past, the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire. Their relationship was not that harmonious. The two countries were at the border. Conflicts were common. Therefore, as the border between the two countries, it was hard for the natives of the Hidden Dragon City not to be tough. Currently, this plain was becoming more and more prosperous. The enmity between the Beacon Fire Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire that had existed for many years had already been completely resolved. The two empires were in harmony, but there were still martial practitioners flying between the two empires from time to time. This caused the flow of people in the dragon-subduing city to be extremely huge. The place was bustling with activity and bustling with activity. At the same time, at a certain street corner in dragon-subduing city, a blue-robed scholar had set up a stall. He hung a white cloth casually and shook his head as he called out. This blue-robed scholar was a fortune-teller. However, he did not have the slightest air of an immortal. Instead, he was listless and listless. His voice was soft and weak. He exuded a languid demeanor. He shook his head, looking like a pedantic poor scholar. Many passers-by, whether they were commoners or martial practitioners, did not stop in front of his stall. This caused him to be completely ignored. Some passers-by even mocked him. Fortune-telling? What a joke. Just a poor scholar who failed the imperial examinations and had nowhere else to go. He wants to swindle people here and fish in troubled waters? Ah, fate is nothingness. It is the most ever-changing. It is as unreal as the moon in the water. Even in the mortal world, a peerless expert like leader Xiao Han could not predict the fate of others. A lowly fellow dares to spout nonsense and calculate the fate of others. A short-sleeved scholar gently waved his folding fan and said with a chuckle, "So, others laugh at me for being too crazy. I laugh at them for not being able to see through me." The blue-robed scholar had a helpless expression and shook his head again. In this mortal world there is no one with intelligence. What a pity, what a pity, ha ha ha. The short-sleeved scholar waved his fan and laughed loudly at the side. The blue-robed fortune-teller suddenly stopped and glanced at the short-sleeved scholar. Then he said seriously, "Brother, you should hurry back home." "Go home? Why would I be in a hurry to go home?" The short-sleeved scholar said mockingly. "I am here to expose your deceitful tricks. Don't tell me you are cursing my house for being burglarized?" "That's not true, that's not true," the blue-robed fortune-teller said seriously. "Brother, your official wife is having an affair with another man. Why don't you go home and take a look?" "Ah ha ha ha. Pft, ha 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 ha." As soon as he said this, the passers-by in the surroundings all laughed wildly. Each and every one of them laughed so hard that they were swaying back and forth and gasping for breath. "Idiot! You're talking nonsense." The short-sleeved scholar was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He was about to rush over and give the blue-robed fortune-teller a beating. Fortunately, the passers-by in the surroundings stopped him and dragged him away. The short-sleeved scholar walked away while cursing. "You're such a pedantic elementary scholar. The moment you open your mouth you start spouting nonsense. You'd better leave quickly. If he comes back later he'll definitely beat you to death." A young woman wearing an embroidered gown spat. "Wait a moment. This brother is indeed coming to find me. However, he is not going to beat me but to kneel and thank me," the blue-robed fortune-teller said confidently. Then he sighed softly. "Furthermore, I cannot leave yet. I am still waiting for someone." "Ah, you should be here soon." Spectators from all directions. They were angry again. They were amused again and dispersed. Whoosh, whoosh, Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi had already arrived at Tiger Subdue City. Jiao Lanzi was still dressed like a monk. His head and face were completely covered and he walked barefoot in the city. Xiao Han also sealed all the true qi in his body and walked away with his head slightly lowered. In this small border town, there was almost no one who had seen Xiao Han with their own eyes. Moreover, there was no large temple built to worship Xiao Han. This allowed Xiao Han to walk in the city without worry of being surrounded. "It's here." Xiao Han nodded his head with absolute certainty. "This is the first time I have come out and taken the initiative to find the first immortal. I just don't know if this immortal is good or evil. However, judging from this wisp of immortal qi, it is pure, flawless, and peaceful. He should not be one of those evil black sheep of the immortal world, right?" Jiao Lanzi only smiled. He did not say much. Xiao Han closed his eyes slightly and gathered his mental energy again. He locked onto the direction of the wisp of immortal qi and walked over. Xiao Han walked 3 steps at a time, heading straight for the wisp of immortal qi, closer. Closer and closer. The immortal hiding in this city is about to surface once I turn a corner. I wonder what the first immortal to take the initiative to find me looks like. I just hope he doesn't get into a fight with me. Xiao Han was a little nervous. At this time, the blue-robed fortune-teller suddenly smiled and said softly, "He's coming." Finally, Xiao Han saw the blue-robed fortune-teller sitting lazily behind the stall. "It's him." Xiao Han was extremely certain. An immortal disguised as a fortune-teller. There's no mistaking it. Jiao Lanzi stood at the back, not saying a word, not moving an inch. The blue-robed fortune-teller raised his eyes and looked at Xiao Han. Their eyes met and they actually smiled at each other. Sigh, fortune teller, 5,000 years can be calculated. The blue-clothed fortune teller cried out again, then he shook his head and said, in such a big world no one understands me. How sad, how lamentable. Mister, please read my fortune for me. Xiao Han smiled and walked over to sit down. Just like that, passers-by stopped in their tracks. Eh? Someone actually fell for it. Quick look. Someone took the bait. Someone asked this swindler to read their fortune. Oh? What do you want to read? The blue-robed fortune teller looked at Xiao Han with a faint smile. Xiao Han was also very interested. He already knew that the other party was an immortal. Now, this immortal was so good at acting that he wanted to read his fortune. This made Xiao Han want to play around. Moreover, after seeing this immortal with his own eyes, Xiao Han realized that this immortal did not seem to be an immortal who would do whatever he wanted. He was relieved and asked casually, then, let me read the future. In a few years I will face the greatest challenge in my life. I will be competing with many tyrannical people. I want to read the fortune and misfortune. At this time, wah, stop hitting me. I won't dare to do it again. I won't steal a man anymore. Suddenly, the sound of a woman's heart-wrenching cries could be heard from afar. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw the short-sleeved scholar with a folding fan, who had just gotten into an argument with the blue-robed fortune teller. At this moment, his face was tense, and his right hand was dragging the hair of a disheveled woman. As he beat her, he walked toward the blue-robed fortune teller's stall. Who told you to steal a man? Pung! The short-sleeved scholar with the folding fan kicked the woman's waist again. Seeing this scene, the onlookers had already guessed what was going on. Just now, the blue-robed fortune teller had indeed said that the short-sleeved scholar's wife was having an affair at home and that he wanted the short-sleeved scholar to go home quickly. At that time, everyone laughed and thought that the blue-robed fortune teller was taking revenge and purposely cursed the short-sleeved scholar. But now, it was true. It was actually true. Damn, this is godly. A group of onlookers were extremely shocked. From the corner of his eyes, Xiao Han glanced at the short-sleeved scholar with a folding fan and was slightly taken aback. Then, he looked at the blue-robed fortune teller again and his expression became serious. Mister, please read my fortune. To be continued. Chapter 562. Xiao Han had originally thought that this blue-robed fortune teller was just an identity that the immortal had created to fool around in the mortal world. The so-called fortune-telling was just a pretense. But now it seemed that was not the case. The short-sleeved scholar with a folding fan had already collapsed in front of the blue-robed fortune-teller's stall. His voice was filled with tears, and he was kowtowing as if he was pounding garlic with his head. Living immortal. You really are a living immortal. Just now, this lowly one's words offended the living immortal. I hope that the living immortal will forgive this lowly one's mistake and not take it to heart. Indeed, that bitch of mine was having sex with my neighbor, Zhang Damatzi. When this lowly one went back just now, he happened to see them. The two of them were passionately in love and had a good time. I gave them a good beating and they both confessed. Sigh, it's all in vain that I've been running around all year round. Sigh, I've been on guard day and night. The short-sleeved scholar with a folding fan had fainted from crying and was carried away by the people around him. At this moment, the scene was completely silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the blue-robed fortune teller. Xiao Han said in a serious tone. Mister, please read my fortune for me. No problem, no problem. The blue-robed fortune teller's eyes were also focused. Circles of dazzling halos shot out from his eyes like dazzling gems. You want to read your fortune and misfortune in the future? Fine. I'll do it for you. You've already gone through a major calamity. In your life, one calamity has just passed and another calamity has arisen. In the next few years, your calamities will be crueler than the one before. Each calamity will be more difficult than the one before. Your fate is full of misfortune. Let me see if you can survive each calamity. The blue-robed fortune teller's expression became more and more serious. He pinched his fingers together and calculated. Shockingly, the blue-robed fortune teller. His hands moved faster and faster. He stared at Xiao Han, and his forehead was instantly covered with dense beads of sweat. What's going on? I've divined everything in the universe, the past and the future. Why can't I divine your future? I can only vaguely divine that your future will be filled with calamities and misfortunes, but I can't divine whether or not you'll be able to survive those calamities. In fact, to me, your future. What's going on? I can't divine it, I can't divine it. The blue-robed fortune teller's face was filled with panic. His facial features were distorted, and he looked as if he had entered a state of cultivation deviation. Suddenly, pooh! A mouthful of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Mr. Yu. Xiao Han was also flustered by the situation. At this moment Jiao Lanzi, who had been standing at the back, spoke gently. Master Divine Diviner. Why do you have to do this? Xiao Han could vaguely feel that something was amiss. A gentle immortal qi emanated from Jiao Lanzi's body and enveloped the blue-robed fortune-teller. Immediately after, the blue-robed fortune-teller's expression relaxed, and he once again glowed with a gentle luster. He raised his eyes to look at Jiao Lanzi, and his eyes were filled with shock. Then he said in a low voice, Forgive my poor eyesight, brother Jiao Lanzi, you've come as well? Noon. Xiao Han, Jiao Lanzi, and the blue-robed fortune-teller sat in a private room of an elegant restaurant in dragon-subduing city. The table was filled with delicacies. The blue-robed fortune-teller, the divine diviner, devoured the delicacies on the table like a gust of wind. His table manners were extremely unsightly. Divine diviner, you're an immortal after all. Can you not eat in such an unsightly manner? Jiao Lanzi took off his cloak and revealed his true appearance with a wry smile. The delicacies of the mundane world are truly unbearable. In fact, they're not inferior to the delicacies of the celestial realm. Xiao Han, I didn't expect you to be with Jiao Lanzi. The divine diviner wiped the grease from the corner of his mouth and looked at Xiao Han again. How strange. I, the divine diviner, am a disciple of the divine diviner sect in the celestial realm. In terms of fortune-telling, no one can surpass me among the younger generation of immortals, but I can't divine Brother Zhao's fate. It seems like Brother Zhao's future is beyond our control. I can even divine the fate of immortals, but why can't I divine the fate of a mortal? Jiao Lanzi smiled and said, Let nature take its course. Don't force it. Let's get straight to the point. Master Godly Diviner, we came to Xiao Han's realm to get a spot to enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Therefore we have to respect Xiao Han and not force him. This is the will of my sect as well as the will of the big shots above. Divine Diviner, there are a total of 300 immortals who have come to Xiao Han's realm, but there are only 200 spots. It's up to Xiao Han to decide how to distribute the spots. Do you have any objections? The Divine Diviner licked his lips and said, Of course I have no objections. Since it's the will of your sect and the higher-ups, I, the Divine Diviner, naturally won't dare to stand out. I'll comply. Good. Jiao Lanzi smiled warmly and looked at Xiao Han. Brother Xiao, it's up to you whether or not to give the Divine Diviner a spot. Oh. Xiao Han was taken aback. All of a sudden, Master God Diviner rose to his feet and bowed deeply to Xiao Han. Brother Xiao, I'm Master God Diviner, a disciple of the Divine Diviner sect in the immortal world. It took a great deal of effort, including the sect master and the elders, to open a space-time tunnel that allowed me to teleport here. I'm truly burdened with the responsibility of revitalizing the sect. I hope Brother Xiao will be lenient and grant me a spot. I'll be eternally grateful. Divine Diviner, you don't have to do this. Xiao Han could never have guessed that Master God Diviner, an immortal whose battle prowess and position in the immortal world couldn't match up to Jiao Lanzi, would actually lower himself to a mortal. What a strange person. Divine Diviner, please take a seat, Xiao Han said graciously. The Divine Diviner was very nervous, but he still sat down. It's like this. Xiao Han said, calculating in his mind. There are 269 spots on my side. Among them, in my plane of existence, there are 39 spots for mortals, and some of the most outstanding people in this plane would like to take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to try their luck with immortality. I've also promised 30 spots to mortal heroes from other planes. In other words, there are 200 spots for you immortals. Gasp. Master Divine Diviner gasped. More than 300 immortals fighting for 200 spots. That's not good. Too many monks, not enough gruel? Then, Master Divine Diviner looked at Xiao Han with tears in his eyes. Brother Xiao, about the spots, could you make an exception? Ha ha ha. Xiao Han burst into laughter. Master God Diviner, you're a kind immortal, and you've never done anything evil in the mortal world. There's no reason for me not to give you a spot. Besides, you're the first immortal I've ever taken the initiative to find. You're very lucky. That's fine. What? You're really giving me a spot? Master Divine Diviner cried out in joy. Brother Xiao, you're a true friend. Ah. Xiao Han, have you decided to give Master Divine Diviner a spot? Jiao Lanzi asked. It's decided then. Xiao Han didn't hesitate. Very well. Jia Lanzi took out a jade tablet and a jade pen, then began to carefully inscribe. Master Divine Diviner, I'll record down your spot now. In these few years, if you don't commit any crimes in this realm, then before you enter the second level of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault, Xiao Han and I will inform you to come to the Unity Mountain Range and meet us. Yes, I'll follow the rules, Master Divine Diviner hurriedly said. After lunch, Xiao Han and Jia Lanzi continued on their way to find the next immortal to decide whether or not to give him a spot. Master Divine Diviner didn't follow them. He stayed in Hidden Dragon City to read the fortunes of mortals. With his godly skills, he had already gained the recognition of the locals and passers-by in the Hidden Dragon City. Presumably, in the next few years, the godly diviner would become a glorious legend in the Hidden Dragon City, a legend that would be talked about enthusiastically in the future. Brother Xiao, you should be able to handle the distribution of spots now, right? Jia Lanzi smiled. It's simple indeed. Xiao Han smiled lightly. But the first one I met was Master Divine Diviner. He's gentle and easygoing, so giving him a spot is only natural. But not every immortal that descends is like Master Divine Diviner. Let's continue. Jia Lanzi nodded slightly, then put on his cloak again, covering his face and aura perfectly. Whoosh, Xiao Han activated his true qi again, conjuring a glacial dragon. The two stood on its head and flew out of Hidden Dragon City. Soon, the glacial dragon crossed the border of the Fire Beacon Empire and entered the Blazing Sun Empire. Xiao Han sat cross-legged on the glacial dragon's head, his psychic waves spreading out as he carefully sensed the immortal qi closest to him. He'd already found the first immortal, Master Divine Diviner. To Xiao Han, finding him again was a piece of cake. No immortals have descended in the Blazing Sun Empire. Xiao Han's psychic waves extended out of the Blazing Sun Empire. He began to search in the Ravager Empire bordering the Blazing Sun Empire. Brother Zhao's divine ability has saved me a lot of effort, Jia Lanzi praised from the side. Xiao Han smiled wordlessly and continued his search. Finally, hard work paid off. In the southern domain in the Ami Empire, Xiao Han found his second target. Let's go, Ami Empire. Xiao Han willed, and the glacial Qi Dragon flew towards the Ami Empire, carrying one person and one immortal. The southern domain. The Ami Empire. The Imperial City. Compared to the Fire Beacon Empire and the Blazing Sun Empire, the Ami Empire was considered a weak empire. Even the Imperial City in its core region did not seem all that rich. At this time in the Imperial City, the passers-by on the streets and alleys were all deeply worried, frustration and depression blossoming in the depths of their eyes. Men and women, old and young, all had ashen faces. Ever since that person came to our Ami Empire, we've really suffered. An old woman stood outside a tavern looking around. The tavern was empty. A young girl next to her quickly pulled the old woman in and whispered, "Mother, don't talk nonsense. Mother, don't talk nonsense. Be careful of being heard by that person, then we'll be in trouble." To be continued. Chapter 563. The Southern Region. The Ami Empire. The Imperial City. Dong, dong, dong. The noon bell rang in the Ami Empire's Imperial City. It lasted for a long time. This bell sound, if it was in the past, was extremely warm and heartwarming. It represented that the people who had been busy for the whole morning could go home and eat a hot lunch in peace. The men who worked hard to make a living could take advantage of lunchtime to go home and have a short reunion with their wives or take a nap. As for the wives at home, they would prepare a table of sumptuous delicacies for their husbands who worked hard outside to entertain them. It also showed the virtuousness of housekeeping. At this moment, the noon bell was like a plague that swept through the entire Ami Empire's Imperial City. The streets and alleys were in chaos. The sounds of lamentation, curses, and the crackling of pots and pans in the houses were endless. The entire Imperial City was in a foul atmosphere. Next, a scene that was rarely seen in 100 years appeared in the Ami Empire's Imperial City. Only to see, boom, 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 from the attics and bungalows in the streets and alleys, commoners dashed out one after another. Each commoner carried a plate that was filled with all kinds of food and wine: chicken, duck, fish, dried fruits, seasonal vegetables, self-brewed wine. Some old, fat, rich landlords from wealthy families urged their manservants to carry roasted whole lamb and roasted suckling pig to the direction of the imperial palace. They even urged them to hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. It's lunchtime. If we make that person unhappy, if we don't eat as scheduled, we're going to suffer. As for some slightly poorer families, they couldn't bring out too sumptuous delicacies. However, they still filled a large pot with vegetables and white rice and rushed towards the imperial city. Soon there was a long queue outside the gate of the imperial city. Countless commoners brought a large amount of food. They lined up in an orderly manner and then entered the imperial city one by one. The soldiers guarding the gate also had a look of bad luck on their faces. As they let the commoners through, they cursed in their hearts. Tell me, who did our Ami Empire offend? Why did we bump into such a god of plague? Damn it. It's easy to invite the devil in, but hard to send him away. So, don't complain. If it wasn't for that person taking action in time, who knows how many people would have been killed by the remaining demons in the imperial city? Yes. That person helped us exterminate the remnants of the demon race, so we ought to repay him. But if we continue to eat like this, it won't be long before our country perishes. I'll be eaten alive by him. Your Majesty, you are already trying to persuade that person to go to other places to eat? The southern region is so big. There are countless countries that are more prosperous than our Ami Empire. I hope that person is willing to listen to us and go to other empires to cause trouble. The imperial city of the Ami Empire. Imperial Palace. At this moment, a man with a fat head and big ears was sitting on a dragon throne. In front of him was a long table with a mountain of delicacies piled on it. It's time for lunch. Ah, I'm starving. The fat man stared at the delicacies on the table and swallowed his saliva. Then, he stood up and rubbed his hands together as he spoke to a middle-aged man in a dragon robe. Your Majesty, then. I'm going to start. I won't be polite then. Ah. Mr. Tao Tai, please enjoy your meal. The middle-aged man in a dragon robe smiled bitterly. Ha 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 ha. The fat man let out a satisfied laugh. Then he opened his mouth. Boom! The table full of roasted lamb, fruits, rice, vegetables, and tofu were all swallowed by him in one gulp. No one saw how he ate it. In the blink of an eye, the table full of food was empty, leaving only the leftovers. Then, a group of servant girls quickly rushed forward and cleaned up the chopping board. Then, the people who were carrying the food lined up and quickly placed the food back on the chopping board. The fat man was extremely ferocious. He ate an entire table of food in one bite. Moreover, he did not stop at all. It was as if his stomach was a bottomless pit that could never be filled. This manner of eating caused the emperor and the civil and military officials in the palace to be dumbfounded. They were as shocked as clay statues and wood carvings. Your Majesty, this. Some of the ministers hurriedly signaled the emperor with their eyes. The emperor gritted his teeth and hesitated for a moment, but he still stepped forward bravely and walked towards the fat man who was crazily eating. The emperor said hesitantly, Mr. Tao Tai, these coarse foods are they to your liking? Wu, ba ji bag, ba ji bag. Mr. Tao Tai was still crazily devouring, and while chewing he grunted. It's too delicious. The delicacies of the human world suit my taste, they really suit my taste. Ah. In the past he was bound by many rules and couldn't eat to his heart's content like this. But now he finally had such an opportunity. Ah. I can eat in peace for a few years. Ah. A few years? The emperor almost fainted from fright. He quickly said, Cough cough, Mr. Tao, our Ami kingdom is a poor kingdom in the southern region. The food that we have been offering to Mr. Tao Tai these days is too coarse. It is really not worthy of Mr. Tao Tai's status. I apologize for making things difficult for Mr. Tao Tai. Those real delicacies are actually in the other empires. I heard that the Blazing Sun Empire is rich in seafood. There are prawns that are 10 feet long. There are also black-boned chickens. In the Longhua Empire there is a type of antelope. The Chuxiong Empire has delicious dog meat. Oh? Tao Tai paused for a moment, then grabbed a large jar of self-brewed fruit wine and gulped it down in 2 or 3 mouthfuls. Then he wiped his mouth and continued to crazily eat. Troublesome. It's very troublesome to move to another place. Now that I can barely eat my fill, I might as well not go to other empires. I'll just stay here in Ami Kingdom and eat peacefully for a few months. Pung. The emperor fell headfirst onto the ground. Your Majesty. Your Majesty. A group of civil and military officials, as well as the concubines of the 3 palaces and 6 courtyards. A servant girl. He immediately rushed forward. The emperor fainted. Imperial physician. Imperial physician. This is the Ami Kingdom's imperial city. Why is it in such a mess? It's a complete mess. Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi had already arrived at the Ami Kingdom's imperial city. At this time, Xiaohan found a cloak and a bamboo hat and covered his face with a mask, so as not to reveal his identity. Oh, it's actually that guy hiding in the Ami Kingdom's imperial city? Ha ha ha. At this time, Jialanzi also shook his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Xiaohan looked at the chaotic scene. His gaze focused in the direction of the imperial city, and Xiaohan could clearly feel strands of immortal qi rising from within the imperial city. And from all directions, some of the common people were staggering towards the imperial city, while others were crying and turning back from the direction of the imperial city. Xiaohan said with a slight frown. The immortal hibernating in this Ami kingdom seems to have an extremely bad character. That godly diviner, at least in the dragon-subduing city, does not interfere with the common people of this plane, and is harmless. Moreover, his fortune-telling and physiognomy are also merits. And this immortal actually caused such a huge commotion. I'm afraid that immortal can't escape responsibility for the chaos here. After a pause, Xiaohan looked at Jialanzi. Brother Jialanzi, you seem to know the immortal hiding in this city? Is this person someone with a bad reputation in the immortal world? Not really a bad reputation. In short, he's a weirdo. Jialanzi laughed involuntarily. As for what that guy has done in this imperial city, Brother Xiao can find someone to ask. If Brother Xiao thinks that guy has gone too far, then you cannot give him a place to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Xiaohan nodded slightly, and then directly pulled an old man who was frowning. Old master, what exactly has happened in the imperial city? Damn it! We've suffered a great crime. The old man directly cursed and complained. In an ordinary house in the Ami Kingdom's imperial city? Damn it! You too, this old man will tell you. The old man's spittle flew as he narrated to Xiaohan and Jialanzi. Originally, there were many demon clans in our plane and the world was not peaceful. However, a few years ago, a monstrous genius appeared in our plane. His name was Xiaohan. In short, Xiaohan led the way and eliminated most of the demon clans in our plane. This caused our plane to be peaceful everywhere. However, there are still a few demon clans in our Ami Kingdom's imperial city that were not completely eliminated. In recent years, these demon clans have been hiding, occasionally coming out to commit crimes. Their whereabouts are extremely secretive. Some demons came from above, but they were not able to find these hidden demon clans. However, a few days ago, a character came. That guy, a fat head and big ears with a pig-like face. When he came here, he clearly said that there were demon clans in our imperial city. He found His Majesty and made a deal with His Majesty. If he could help us eliminate these demon clans, then our Ami Kingdom must let him live in the imperial city and offer him food every day. His Majesty thought to himself, what's the point of offering food? As long as he can eliminate the demon clans that are wreaking havoc in the imperial city, even if he wants a mountain of gold and silver, we have to give it to him. In the end, this guy was really capable. He directly found those demon clans and killed them one by one. He gave us a clean and bright world. We celebrated with the whole country. We warmly welcomed that guy. However, a disaster came along with it. That guy can eat too much. You two guess how much he can eat every meal? The old man stared at Xiaohan and Jialanzi with wide eyes. This. Xiaohan choked. He should be able to eat a lot, right? Let this old man tell you that guy only used 3 days. Just like that, he ate up all the food in the palace warehouse. On the 4th day, he ate all the pigs, cows, and sheep in the imperial farm. From the 5th day onwards, the citizens of our imperial city must carry food from their homes to the imperial city every noon to worship him. The old man gritted his teeth in hatred. If this continues, our Ami Kingdom will perish in less than a month. It can't be? Directly eating across an empire? Xiaohan was also shocked. To be continued. Chapter 564. Xiaohan was baffled by the old man's description. He had never heard of such a gluttonous fellow. In just a few days, he had eaten all the food in the royal warehouse and all the livestock in the royal farm. What kind of concept was this? He was going to devour the entire world. However, Xiaohan thought about it again. That fellow was an immortal who had descended. Naturally, he could not be measured with common sense. He could not be measured with the eyes of mortals. Xiaohan was extremely speechless as he sent a mental message to Jialanzi. Brother Jialanzi, I didn't think that you immortals could eat so much. Brother Xiao, I have already said that this person is a weirdo. He is a famous existence in the immortal world. You must not generalize him. For example, I will definitely not be able to eat 1/10,000th of his food. Oh no, 100,000th. Jialanzi also smiled as he sent a voice transmission. After a pause, Jiao Lanzi sent a voice transmission. Brother Xiao, whether you give this weirdo a spot to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure depends on you. Let's not talk about the spot for now. At the very least we have to stop him from eating like this. Otherwise the Ami Empire will really perish. Xiao Han directly stood up and bid farewell to the chattering old man. Damn it, it's really easy to invite a god but hard to send him away. The bad thing is that our emperor made an oath with that fellow in advance to provide him with food and shelter for free. Now that he has helped us eradicate the demon race, if we drive him away we will be in the wrong. Sigh, this matter cannot be blamed on his majesty. Who would have thought that he would be such a glutton? The old man was still frantically venting his dissatisfaction. Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi walked out. In the afternoon, the Ami Empire's imperial city finally restored some order after lunch. However, the passers-by on the streets were all dejected and there were some complaints. Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi walked side by side in the direction of the imperial city. Brother Jiaolan, although this weirdo didn't commit any crimes or harm civilians, eating and drinking like this is still a kind of harm to the people of me country. Just now, I saw some poor families even take out some of the food they had stored in their house during the holidays to offer it to that weirdo. Looking at those poor families, their own families have to endure hunger, but they have to offer the best food to that weirdo. I feel sad. Xiao Han was a little indignant, but he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But then again, this weirdo has indeed contributed to the Ami kingdom. I've killed a remnant of the demon race that has brought disaster to a region. I really need to carefully consider this quota. Brother Xiao, there is no need to feel conflicted. Let's head to the Imperial Palace first and see that weirdo in person before making a decision, Jiao Lanzi added with a faint smile. However, it would be a pity to strip that weirdo of his spot. Oh? Xiao Han was stunned. Jiao Lanzi said seriously. This person's name is Tao Meizi. He's the most outstanding genius among the younger generation of a mid-tier sect in the immortal world. Why do you think he can eat so much? It's because he has a special gene in his bloodline. The bloodline of the ancient Tao Tai. Jiao Lanzi became more and more serious. In the immortal world, as long as an immortal has a special bloodline, their battle prowess far surpasses those of the same level. The ancient Tao Tai devours all things and its body is like an abyss, unfathomable. Tao Meizi seems to have awakened the Tao Tai gene in his bloodline, so he can destroy a city and a country with one bite. This guy has entered the second level of the immortal Emperor Judao's treasure trove, and he will most likely gain something. Forget it, I can't break the rules just because of Tao Meizi's extraordinary talent. Whether to give Tao Meizi the quota or not, it's up to Brother Xiao. If Brother Xiao decides not to give him the quota, and he resists, I will teach him a lesson. Let's enter the Imperial Palace and see that Tao Meizi face to face. Xiao Han's eyes also showed some pondering. He seemed to be thinking of a good plan to deal with Tao Meizi. Ami Kingdom. Imperial Palace. Your Majesty. Your Majesty. An important official rushed in anxiously and knelt on one knee. Your Majesty, Xiao Han has arrived at the Imperial Palace with Cha Xiu. He said that he wants to see Mr. Tao Meizi. What? Xiao Han has come. The emperor was surprised and happy. At this time, the surrounding officials all cheered and danced. Your Majesty, could it be that Xiao Han has heard that Mr. Tao Meizi is a little inappropriate in our country, so he personally intervened? Great. It's easy to invite a god in, but it's hard to send him away. We can't do anything to Mr. Tao Meizi, but Xiao Han has come. Great. Misfortune will finally leave. Let Mr. Tao Meizi go and harm other empires. But, Your Majesty, isn't this inappropriate? After all, Mr. Tao Meizi is our Ami Kingdom's benefactor. If we expel him now, isn't it like burning the bridge after crossing the river? We can't let Mr. Tao Meizi continue to eat like this. At most, in 10 days or half a month, our country will perish. Dear ministers, there's no need to say more. Now, I will personally welcome Xiao Han and Cha Xiu and take him to see Mr. Tao Meizi. I hope that the two of them will not have any disputes. Peace is precious, peace is precious. The emperor went out to greet them. However, Xiao Han and Cha Xiu are like the sun in the sky in our plane. I don't know which sect Mr. Tao Meizi is from, or perhaps he is a demon from the Hero Tower. In short, he should give Xiao Han and Cha Xiu face, right? Ami Empire. Imperial Garden. After enjoying a sumptuous lunch, Tao Meizi sat on a soft chair with a golden saber, sprawled out like a pile of meat. He burped contentedly, drinking iced sour plum juice and eating fruits. Of course, the fruits he ate were piled up like a mountain. Burp, burp, Tao Meizi burped and patted his bulging belly. He was so happy that he kept roaring. Ah, comfortable. Really comfortable. This world is much happier than the immortal world. No one is controlling me. There are still a few years before the second layer of the treasure of Judao Immortal Emperor is opened. Tao Meizi can still be happy for a few years. Hey, when the time comes, I'll go find Xiaohan and ask for a place directly. Well, I don't know what delicacy Xiaohan will use to entertain me. How can this Ami Empire become poor because of me? Well, I have here. As he spoke, Tao Meizi rummaged through his storage ring and found some top-grade immortal jades, which were shining brightly. These are the top-grade immortal jades I found in the immortal world. When the time comes, I'll give some to the king of the Ami Empire. It should be enough to compensate for the food I've eaten, right? I'm too lazy to go anywhere else. I'll just stay here for a while and enjoy the happiness of the world. Just as Tao Meizi was enjoying the beautiful time after the meal, Mr. Tao Meizi? Mr. Tao Meizi, there's a distinguished guest who wants to see you. A eunuch hurriedly ran over. Distinguished guest? Tao Meizi raised his body slightly. At this time, the emperor of the Ami Empire had already bowed and led Xiaohan and Jialanzi into the imperial garden. Well, your majesty, all of you can leave now. I have some important matters to discuss with Mr. Tao Meizi. Xiaohan said indifferently. Yes. The emperor hurriedly nodded and said yes. However, before leaving he still mumbled. Xiaohan, although Mr. Tao Meizi's appetite is a little big, but Mr. Tao Meizi is also a good person. He has helped our Ami Empire, and he is very kind. He has never argued with us. I know what I'm doing. Xiaohan nodded slightly. In the imperial garden, the emperor withdrew with the miscellaneous people. In the large garden, only Xiaohan Jialanzi, whose face was covered and whose breath was like wood and stone, and Tao Meizi, who had a blank face, were left. Oh. Tao Meizi looked at Xiaohan very innocently, then smacked his lips and said, You are very strong. Among the mortals, you are one of the strongest. Perhaps invincible. But do you know me, Tao Meizi? Why are you looking for me? Could it be that you want to give me good food and wine? Mr. Tao Meizi, let's get straight to the point. I am Xiaohan. Xiaohan smiled slightly. You are an immortal from the immortal world. After a few years, you will enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure, right? Xiaohan. You are Xiaohan. All of a sudden, Tao Meizi directly jumped up from the soft chair. His huge body shook and burst out with a thunderous roar. Xiaohan used his spiritual wave to slightly penetrate into Tao Meizi's body. Suddenly, Xiaohan felt that he was not facing a living creature, but a bottomless abyss. Tao Meizi's body was like an abyss, like the sea, like a black hole in the universe, like a world, incomparably huge and endless. After Xiaohan's spiritual wave penetrated into it, it lingered for a long time, unable to find the edge of the cliff. Really magical. Xiaohan praised in his heart. Brother Jialan is right. This person must be much more powerful than the immortals of the same realm. However, Xiaohan's face was very cold. Mr. Tao Meizi, you should know that after a few years, the quota to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure is in my hands. This, of course I know, of course. Hearing this, Tao Meizi suddenly became very anxious. He even showed some nervousness. He subconsciously rubbed his hands and said, Xiaohan, my friend, your face seems to be a little serious. Oh, are you blaming me for not taking the initiative to visit you? Oh. Xiaohan was directly stunned by Tao Meizi's attitude. Xiaohan never thought that Tao Meizi would be so amiable. In front of him, there was even a kind of uneasiness like a child's restraint. He did not seem to be arrogant at all. This guy is really a fool. Unconsciously, Xiaohan had a trace of a good impression of this Tao Meizi. However, Xiaohan's face was still very cold and stern. The quota is in my hands. I, Xiaohan, want whoever gets the quota. I, Xiaohan, will not allow any immortal to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure. He will not be able to enter. Mr. Tao Meizi, you have to know that you are not the only immortal that descended this time. More than 300 immortals competing for 200 quotas. No, now there are only 199 quotas left. Each quota is very precious. Ah? Is that so? On Tao Meizi's smooth and broad forehead, fine beads of sweat seeped out. He became more and more nervous. There are only 199 quotas left? Brother Xiaohan, you must give me, Tao Meizi, a quota. If you don't give me a quota when I return to the sect, those old guys will starve me for a year and a half. That would be worse than death. He? Give you a quota? Xiaohan pretended to be very cold and stern and raised his voice. If the immortals that descended this time want to get a quota, they must abide by the rules of this plane. They must not commit crimes or commit crimes. Once they commit a crime, there will be no quota for them. Mr. Talmazy, in this Ami Empire, you destroy the livelihood of mortals and eat and drink for free. Do you think that you should get a quota from me? Ah. Hearing Xiao Han's words, Talmazy's whole body trembled in fear. He hurriedly defended himself. Brother Xiao Han, I did not commit crimes. Listen to my explanation. You must listen to my explanation. It's a misunderstanding. Brother, everything is a misunderstanding. I did not eat and drink for free, right? I killed a few remnants of the demon clan on behalf of the mortals of this country. They personally promised to provide me with food and drink. Besides, I also prepared to give them some compensation. As he spoke, Talmazy took out a lot of supreme-grade immortal jades from his storage ring. Xiao Han pondered for a moment. Mr. Talmazy, no matter how you quibble, in short, many poor families have indeed been badly battered by you. Some families have become more and more destitute. All of this was caused by you. No, it was all caused by your mouth. I was really wrong? Talmazy swallowed his saliva, his eyes extremely confused. Brother, about the quota, can we discuss it again? Don't worry, as long as you promise to give me a quota, I will immediately leave the Ami Empire. Moreover, I will give enough compensation to the monarch of this country. Oh? I didn't expect that Mr. Talmazy also has a heart of repentance. At this time Xiao Han changed the topic. Mr. Talmazy, as you said, you are not completely without merit. At least, you have vanquished the demons for the Ami Empire, which can be regarded as getting rid of evil for the people. Moreover, your character is very, very simple. I also hit it off with you. How about this, if you can atone for your sins now, then it is not too late. I can also give you a quota, and there is no harm in making friends with you. Atone? Talmazy's eyes shone with golden light. Of course, I am willing to atone for my sins. Brother Xiao Han, thank you for giving me, Talmazy, this opportunity. So, how can I atone for my sins? Well? Xiao Han's eyes kept moving, his expression like a fox showing its tail. If you have any immortal pills or immortal medicines, take some out, it will be considered atonement? Good. Brother Xiao. So, you want to take this opportunity to extort Talmazy, the immortal world's idiot? Ah. A mortal extorting an immortal, this is really unprecedented. Ah. Brother Xiao, you have it? Hearing this, Jialanzi had already guessed Xiao Han's idea, so he directly sent a soul message to Xiao Han, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. With Talmazy's character, he will definitely fall into Brother Zhao's trap. Chapter 565. At this moment, Xiao Han indeed wanted to take advantage of the situation and extort money from Tao Tai. Yes, what Tao Tai did in the Ami Empire was indeed absurd. But seriously speaking, it wasn't a heinous crime that would incur the wrath of the heavens. Moreover, he also subdued the demon. Originally, Xiao Han did not intend to give this quota to Tao Tai. After all, there were too many monks but not enough gruel. To be able to pick a group of pure immortals who did not cause any damage to the plane and had no bad records to enter the second round of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure was naturally perfect. But after seeing Tao Tai with his own eyes, Xiao Han was very impressed by his simplicity and kindness. Logically speaking, an immortal who was not weak should not condescend to a mortal like Xiao Han. Therefore, Xiao Han made up his mind to be lenient and give Tao Ming a spot as well. However, it was not right to give Tao Tai a quota just like that. Xiao Han's current cultivation realm had reached various bottlenecks. He must take immortal pills and immortal medicines to break through the shackles and ascend. After a few years, he would be able to compete with many immortals in the second layer of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. This was not a trivial matter. However, it was impossible for a mortal like Xiao Han to get immortal pills and immortal medicines out of thin air. He could only do it from these immortals who had descended. Since this Taoya's weakness was in Xiao Han's hands, Xiao Han would not be polite. I'm just extorting this Tao Tai. It's not a big deal. These immortal pills and immortal medicines are nothing to an immortal who has descended with a great treasure. Xiao Han smiled slightly. Ah, immortal pills and immortal medicines can atone for my sins? Brother Xiao Han, immortal pills and immortal herbs can atone for my sins. I Tao Tai have no objections. I agree with you with both hands. But I don't have any immortal pills or immortal herbs. This is very difficult. Tao Tai suddenly slapped his forehead, and his face was completely drawn. Brother Xiao Han, immortal pills and immortal herbs can atone for my sins. No way. Xiao Han shook his head repeatedly. Mr. Tao Tai, you're lying. You've descended from the immortal world to compete with the other sects in the immortal world. How could you not bring along immortal pills and immortal medicines for emergencies? Brother Xiao Han, it's mainly because I eat too much. That's why the sect doesn't give me immortal pills and immortal medicines. I can't help but eat them all. When I was young, I would always bring a lot of immortal pills and immortal medicines with me. However, the moment I went out, I would eat all of them. I remember one time I almost died because I took too many immortal pills. From then on, I would never bring any immortal pills with me. That works too. Do you have any magic treasures or immortal weapons on you? Xiao Han did not know whether to laugh or cry. Also not. Tao Tai said with a sullen face. You don't have any immortal elixirs, immortal medicines, magic treasures or immortal weapons. How are you going to fight with the beauties of the other immortal realm sects? Truly absurd. Xiao Han said indignantly. Brother Xiao Han, don't be angry. Listen to my explanation. Tao Tai said nervously. Because my strength is a little bit stronger than an immortal of the same level. Moreover, I am a magical treasure. Taoist Z patted his bulging belly as he spoke. This place is a magic treasure. It can swallow anything. Xiao Han said with great difficulty. Mr. Tao Tai, what can you use to atone for your crime? It seems that I can't get this quota. Wait. Brother Xiao Han. Hold on. Tao Tai immediately screamed. How about this? Brother Xiao Han, give me a few days. Xiao Han was stunned. If that's the case, I'll immediately go and look for the immortals who have descended from the other sects in the immortal world and ask them for some immortal pills and immortal medicines. My strength is stronger than them. I think they will give me some face. Tao Tai said in panic. That works too. Xiao Han was surprised. Why not? Tao Tai said while licking his lips. However, Brother Xiao Han, there are many types of immortal pills and immortal medicines. What kind of immortal pills do you need? Xiao Han nodded slightly and thought for a few breaths. Then he said, Earth attribute and Thunder attribute immortal pills. If there are immortal pills that can increase mental strength, that would be the best. Earth attribute, Thunder attribute, mental strength attribute. Tao Tai repeated and then nodded heavily. All right. I will remember it. Brother Xiao Han, please wait for a few days. I, Tao Tai, will go and find these immortal pills and come back to atone for my crime. As soon as he finished speaking, boom! Tao Ye's fat and huge body directly turned into a ray of immortal light and disappeared into the sky. He came and went without a trace. Brother Xiao, congratulations on your successful extortion. Jia Lanzi finally laughed. Xiao Han laughed dryly. I don't know if Tao Tai can bring back the immortal pills to atone for his crime. Brother Xiao, don't worry. Tao Tai will not return empty-handed. In fact, among the immortals who descended to this plane, his combat strength is among the best. Even if other immortals don't give it to him, he will snatch the immortal pills for you. Jia Lanzi said with absolute certainty. After a pause, Jia Lanzi asked doubtfully. Brother Xiao, you want Earth attribute and Thunder attribute immortal pills? Don't tell me you want to refine your immortal body? TSK, you have a mortal body? If you can swallow the immortal pills and refine your immortal body, it will be a miracle that is rarely seen. Xiao Han only smiled at Jia Lanzi's question and did not deny it. Just like that, after Tao Tai left the Ami Empire to search for immortal pills for Xiao Han and Jia Lanzi stayed in the Ami Empire for the time being. The emperor was naturally attentive. He did not dare to be careless in the slightest when dealing with Xiao Han, the leader of this plane. The departure of Tao Tai, the king of appetite, caused the people of the entire Ami Empire to heave a long sigh of relief. The whole country celebrated, singing and dancing. In a flash, Tao Tai had already left the Ami Empire for 7 days. On this afternoon, Xiao Han and Jia Lanzi sat in the imperial garden of the imperial palace, chatting with each other. This Tao Tai has been gone for several days, but there is still no reply. Xiao Han shook his head and laughed. It seems that when he went to ask for the immortal pills, everything went wrong and he was rejected. Brother Xiao, don't be anxious. Jia Lanzi smiled. Wait patiently for a few more days. After a pause, Jia Lanzi continued. However, Brother Xiao, if this weirdo Tao Tai really does ask for the immortal pills and immortal medicines for you, then, you should give him a place, right? Of course. Xiao Han said decisively. Brother Jia Lanzi, how can this Xiao not keep his word? Since I have made a promise to Tao Tai, I will not go back on my word. In this way, in the few years before the opening of the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, how is Brother Xiao going to settle down Tao Tai? It is impossible to keep him in the Ami Empire, right? Moreover, I am afraid that no empire in the secular world can support this Tao Tai, the king of appetite. Well, when the time comes, send Tao Tai to the Devil Hero region. Let him live comfortably in the Devil Hero Tower, and provide him with food every day. Xiao Han seemed to have a plan. Brother Jialanzi, with my financial resources and the financial resources of the entire Devil Hero region, it is not a big problem to support Tao Tai for a few years. That's good. Jialanzi also nodded and smiled. At this moment, he's back. Xiao Han and Jialanzi said almost at the same time. Their eyes also looked at the sky almost at the same time. They saw 7 colored rays flickering in the sky, and immortal chi was faintly discernible. Tao Ye's fat body was already faintly discernible in the clouds. However, beside Tao Tai, there was a green-clothed youth standing. Pure immortal chi also flowed in the cells of his pores. As Tao Tai descended, he laughed heartily. Brother Xiao Han, Tao Tai am back. At this moment, standing in front of Xiao Han and Jialanzi besides Tao Tai, was the green-clothed youth. This green-clothed youth had eyes like an eagle, and he had a peerless and ambitious spirit. Moreover, the aura of his body was round and bright. At a glance, one could tell that he was an extremely tyrannical immortal. Brother Xiao, I am a disciple of the Deep Earth sect in the immortal world, Shiyangzi. The green-clothed youth smiled slightly and then looked deeply at Xiao Han. His eyes flashed with a strange light, and he could not help but nod repeatedly. Sure enough. Brother Xiao, you have the embryonic form of a dual-attribute immortal body with lightning and earth attributes. No wonder you asked Brother Tao Tai to search for the 2 immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes. As expected, you want to refine your immortal body. Good ambition. To refine and forge an immortal body for mortals. Brother Xiao indeed has great ambition. No wonder you are the leader of this plane. A dragon and phoenix among mortals. Brother Shiyangzi, you think too highly of me. Xiao Han frowned slightly and then looked at Tao Tai. Brother Tao Tai, Brother Xiao Han, listen to me. Tao Tai licked his lips and said, a few days ago, I left the Ami Empire to look for other immortals who descended from the immortal world to ask for immortal pills. I found a few immortals, and they happened to not have immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes. After searching for a long time, I finally found Shiyangzi. Immortal pills? Xiao Han looked at Tao Tai. Brother Xiao Han, immortal pills? I don't have any. Tao Tai spread his hands. However, Shiyangzi found out that Brother Xiao Han needs immortal pills with these 2 attributes. Therefore, he wants to go with me to see you. Shiyangzi said that he will definitely satisfy Brother Xiao Han. Am I right, Shiyangzi? Tao Tai winked at Shiyangzi. Shiyangzi said with a smile. Brother Xiao. Brother Tao Tai has already told me about the matter of you inspecting us immortals and distributing the quotas according to your discretion. I, Shiyangzi, absolutely support this matter. The current situation seems to be that there are too many monks and not enough gruel. Therefore, I, Shiyangzi, am afraid that some immortals who descended will come empty-handed and have made a wasted trip. If I want to get a quota from Brother Xiao, I will naturally have to pay a price. This is understandable. Therefore, Brother Xiao, I, Shiyangzi, am willing to pay the price and ask for 2 quotas. I will ask for 1 for Brother Tao Tai and 1 for me, Shiyangzi. What do you think? Shiyangzi's words were full of confidence, as if he had a resource that would definitely move Xiao Han. He was not worried that Xiao Han would not give him a quota. Oh, if you can really offer a price that I, Xiao Han, am satisfied with, then it won't be a problem to give Brother Tao Tai and Brother Shiyangzi a quota each. Now Xiao Han finally tasted the pleasure of raising the price and hoarding a rare commodity. Brother Shiyangzi, could it be that you have a large number of immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes? Ah. Immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes? I don't. Shiyangzi laughed. However, I have this. Suddenly Shiyangzi took out an earthen yellow ball. It was about the size of a fist. However, the yellow ball was overflowing with light, and the silhouette of a chain of mountains flashed across it. Countless mountains and mountain ranges rolled past it. It was as if there were tens of thousands of majestic mountain ranges sealed within the yellow ball. It was extremely shocking. The surface of the yellow ball was engraved with dense immortal characters, and it was shrouded in immortal aura. A thick and solid earth element aura gushed out and spread out violently, causing the earth attribute gene in Xiao Han's bloodline to stir. Shockingly, rings of yellow light were emitted from the surface of Xiao Han's body. It turned out to be a yellow ball in Shi Yangzi's hand. The aura it emitted had directly triggered Xiao Han's earth elemental physique. It's an earth attribute treasure. Xiao Han was well aware of this. At this moment, Jia Lanzi, who was standing behind Xiao Han, could not help but exclaim in surprise. Brother Xiao, this is an immortal treasure, the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. Shi Yangzi looked at Xiao Han confidently. I'll use this immortal treasure to exchange for 2 quotas to enter the second layer of immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure trove. That should be enough, right? To be continued. Chapter 566. Ichim? The earth god's demon-subduing pearl? Xiao Han was stunned. Watermark advertisement test, he had wanted a medicinal pill, but he did not expect Shi Yangzi to give him a dharma treasure. Furthermore, this magic treasure, be it in terms of appearance or aura, was definitely extraordinary. In addition, even Jia Lanzi, who had been calm all this while, could not help but let out a cry of surprise. Oh! Shi Yangzi looked at Jia Lanzi in surprise, but he did not notice anything amiss. He quickly turned to look at Xiao Han and said, Brother Xiao, listen to me. Brother Xiao, listen to me. Shi Yangzi sorted out his thoughts before he began to speak. This earth god's demon-subduing pearl is an extremely powerful magic treasure of my sect, the Deep Earth sect. Our Huda sect mainly cultivates earth attribute celestial arts. Originally, our sect had a lot of earth attribute celestial pills. However, I didn't bring any celestial pills with me this time. It's fine. This earth god demon-subduing and demon-subduing pearl was created by the wise sages of our sect. They collected 188,888 immortal mountains filled with spirit chi and refined 188,888 meteorites from outer space for countless years before they were able to create this magical treasure. There are 188,888 souls of immortal mountains sealed in this bead. Xiao Han couldn't help but exclaim upon hearing this. Indeed. Therefore, the earth elemental essence contained in this earth god's devil-subduing and demon-suppressing pearl is richer than countless immortal pills. The earth elemental essence in it already shows signs of becoming a spirit and a monster. Shi Yangzi fiddled with the pearl in his hand. The mountains in it kept tumbling and pressing down on the universe. This is the Dharma treasure. This is the Dharma treasure. Once it's used, it can directly crush the enemy into powder. To be honest, this is one of the few life-saving celestial artifacts bestowed upon me by the sect after I descended to this world. Normally, I wouldn't give it to anyone easily, but I owed Brother Taotai a favor back in the immortal world. Now I'm going to give it to him. Now I'll use it to repay him. Moreover, I must go on an expedition in a few years. I can't return empty-handed. I'll definitely get a spot from Brother Xiao. I'll also take on the responsibility of revitalizing the sect. However, I can't ask Brother Xiao to give me a spot for free. It's better to rely on myself than others. Since the spots are limited, I'll use this Dharma treasure. Since the spots are limited, I'll use this Dharma treasure. Brother Xiao, you're searching for earth-attributed and lightning-attributed immortal pills because you want to temper your immortal body. Although this earth god's demon-subduing pearl is not an immortal pill, if you can refine it, your earth immortal physique will be extremely condensed, thick, and flawless. Success. Shi Yangzi looked at Xiao Han with burning eyes. However, it's not that I, Shi Yangzi, look down on Brother Xiao, but I'm afraid that Brother Xiao's mortal body won't be able to endure the refinement of the earth god's demon-subduing pearl, and your body will explode. Even in the celestial world, one must be a level 3 or level 4 true immortal who cultivates an earth immortal technique in order to refine it. Of course, you don't have to refine it. I'll give this Dharma treasure to Brother Xiao. With Brother Xiao's embryonic earth immortal body, you'll be able to refine it with your blood. Brother Xiao will probably be able to unleash 1% of this Dharma treasure's power. Whether you refine it to refine your immortal body or refine it with your blood and make it your own Dharma treasure, it's all up to you. Of course, if Brother Xiao insists on refining this earth-subduing the demon-subduing pearl, I'll stand guard at the side. If Brother Xiao fails to refine it and suffers a backlash, I'll immediately make a move to save Brother Xiao. Shi Yangzi said seriously. So that's how it is. Xiao Han muttered to himself. So, not only can I consume immortal pills to refine my immortal body, but I can also refine Dharma treasures. This Dharma treasure, the earth-subduing the demon-subduing pearl, contains an enormous amount of starry sky-earth energy essence. I'm afraid it's even more powerful than tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of Earth Emperor body refining pills? If I refine and absorb this Dharma treasure completely, I'll definitely refine the starry sky dominator body and become the first mortal to refine a true immortal body in the mortal world. However, will I be able to refine it successfully? Xiao Han was also full of doubts. However, Xiao Han would definitely not miss out on this heaven-defying Dharma treasure. Alright, deal. I'll use this Earth attribute Dharma treasure, the Earth subduing the demon, subduing the pearl to exchange for 2 slots to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure trove. It's fair and just. That's great. Both sides took what they needed. Shi Yangzi also nodded. At this moment, Xiao Han nodded at Jialanzi and said, Brother Jialan, please record the names of Shi Yangzi and Tao Taizi. All right. Jialanzi smiled and removed his cloak, revealing his true appearance. Ah. So it's you? Jialanzi. Tao Taizi and Shi Yangzi screamed at the same time when they saw Jialanzi. Jialanzi, I didn't expect you to be together with Brother Xiao Han. Even I, Tao Taizi, didn't notice you. Amazing, your concealment skill is truly extraordinary. You're worthy of being the leader of the younger generation in the immortal world. I, Tao Taizi, admire you. Tao Taizi shook his head and said. Shi Yangzi was also shocked. No wonder Brother Xiao dared to make the decision to allocate the names to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. So you have Jialanzi's support? Let's cut to the chase. Brother Tao Tai, Brother Shiyang, you'll each get a name. Jialanzi took out a jade book and a jade brush and began recording seriously. Alright, it's been recorded. Brother Tao Tai, Brother Shiyang, before the opening of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, you can go to the Unity Mountain Range and find Xiao Han. Very good. Shi Yangzi nodded his head in satisfaction and handed the magic treasure, Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl, to Xiao Han. This divine pearl was extremely heavy in his hand, and Xiao Han almost couldn't hold it. Moreover, when he held it in his hand, Xiao Han's state of mind became extremely calm. His entire being actually gave birth to a subtle sense of confidence. Moreover, his essence, qi and spirit were extremely compatible with heaven and earth. There was a feeling of touching the great Tao of nature. It was really magical. Xiao Han was secretly impressed. Brother Tao Tai, Brother Shiyang, after this matter, I still have to search for other immortals with Brother Jialan to decide who the remaining names belong to. Let's part ways here. Xiao Han carefully put the pearl into his storage ring. Brother Shiyang, this magic treasure, should I refine it or use it with a drop of my blood? I'll discuss it with Brother Jialan before making a decision. As for Brother Tao Tai, Xiao Han smiled and looked at Tao Taizi. Brother Tao Tai, this Ami Empire has been eaten to the bottom by you. You can't stay here any longer. Oh? Tao Taizi patted his shriveled belly with extreme disappointment and murmured. Looks like I'll have to endure hunger for a few more years. Bitter, miserable? Ha ha ha. Xiao Han laughed heartily. Brother Tao Tai, since you've descended to this plane, I'll naturally do my duty as a host. You can go to our plane's Devil Hero region now. There will naturally be people who will treat you with great hospitality. You'll be able to enjoy endless delicacies. What? Tao Taizi cried out in surprise. Brother Xiao Han, can I eat to my heart's content? Yes, of course you can. Although I'm poor, I don't have to worry about Brother Tao Tai eating me to my poverty. Xiao Han teased. Ha ha ha. Jialanzi and Shi Yangzi couldn't help but laugh heartily. A ray of cold light flew across the sky and flashed before disappearing. Xiao Han and Jialanzi sat cross-legged on the cold ice subterranean dragon's head that was formed by their true qi. Brother Xiao, congratulations on successfully obtaining a magical treasure from the immortal world. This is quite a big blow. Jialanzi said with a smile. This is really an unexpected harvest. Xiao Han's brows also relaxed. He never thought that the plan to extort an immortal would go so smoothly. To be honest, Brother Xiao, the immortal world sect that Shi Yangzi belongs to, the Deep Earth sect, might not have a great overall strength and can barely be ranked in the middle. However, the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl is indeed one of the few magical treasures unique to the Deep Earth sect. It's also quite famous in the immortal world. Shi Yangzi is a level 2 true immortal, but with the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl and his immortal force, it's not impossible for him to fight against a level 3 true immortal. Of course, if a senior disciple or an elder of the Deep Earth sect personally uses this magical treasure, its power will be even greater. TSK, in order to obtain the treasure of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao, the Deep Earth sect has already put in a lot of effort. However, Brother Xiao, you've benefited from it. Such an extraordinary magical treasure has still fallen into your hands in the end. Jialanzi also had a lot of thoughts. This Xiangzi is also quite a character. He gave away a magical treasure just like that. This boldness is indeed the character of an ambitious and ruthless person. In the immortal world, this person is a person who kills without hesitation. However, he doesn't have a bad record. Xiangzi is not bad. He would rather use a magical treasure to exchange for a quota than to threaten a mortal like me. In the beginning, he and Taotai didn't know that brother Jialanzi was hiding beside me. They didn't have any misgivings and could have easily captured me and asked for a quota. Although I don't really understand Xiangzi, this person is at least open and above board, Xiaohan said emotionally. This is called, without sacrificing the child, one cannot trap the wolf, Jialanzi said half jokingly and half seriously. Of course, from this point of view, Xiangzi definitely has more than one life-saving magical treasure on him. With such boldness, he must be very confident in obtaining something in the second layer of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure. Even if he gets 1 or 2 magical treasures, the loss of the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl can be completely ignored. Instead, he might even make a huge profit. However, Brother Xiao, do you really intend to refine the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl? Jialanzi's eyes stared at Xiaohan. Refining a magical treasure from the immortal world is no small matter. It is even more difficult than consuming and refining immortal pills. Heck, as long as I can refine this Earth God's demon-subduing pearl and absorb it into my body, I can at least condense a level 1 immortal body, right? Xiaohan licked his lips and his eyes emitted a light that was eager to make a move. Chapter 567. Level 1 Immortal Physique. Equivalent to a Level 1 True Immortal. Every Level 1 True Immortal's immortal physique can be called a Level 1 Immortal Physique. A Level 1 Immortal Physique's pure physical strength is about 1 to 10 Immortal Dragon Power. In other words, it is 10 trillion ding to 100 trillion ding in the mortal world. As long as one reaches a Level 1 Immortal Physique, no mortal in the mortal world can break their defense. However, Xiaohan's current physical strength is only 5 trillion ding, far from enough to forge a Level 1 Immortal Physique. Brother Xiao, this Earth God Demon Suppressing Pearl, is a magic treasure with some fame in the immortal world. Even a Level 1 or Level 2 True Immortal cannot refine it. One must reach Level 3 or even Level 4 True Immortal, and have the Earth and Starry Sky attribute in their bloodline to try to refine it. Moreover, even a Level 4 True Immortal would need to spend several years of hard work to completely refine the Earth God's Demon Suppressing Orb, Jialanzi said. If Brother Xiao can refine this Earth God Demon Suppressing Pearl, you can easily create a Level 2 Immortal Physique without any suspense. Moreover, the Immortal Physique created by refining the Earth God Demon Suppressing Pearl is a special Immortal Physique. Its quality is superior to ordinary Immortal Physiques. For example, the Earth Attribute Starry Sky Sovereign Physique is at least twice as good as ordinary Level 1 Immortal Physiques. It's just that. Jialanzi laughed. Brother Xiao, if you say that you can consume immortal pills, this is already shocking news. If it spreads to the immortal world, even countless immortal emperors would be shocked. But if you can even refine an immortal artifact, that would be a rare thing. A mortal refining an immortal artifact. Tiske, I don't even dare to think about it. Xiaohan also understood that there were differences between immortal physiques. Ordinary immortal physiques. Special immortal physiques. For example, Xiaohan's current 2 embryonic forms of immortal physiques, Thunder God Tyrant Body and Starry Sky Sovereign Physique, once completed. Then, the quality would be superior to ordinary immortal physiques of the same level. Special immortal physiques, the future is boundless. Brother Xiao. Cultivate. Step by step, follow the rules. Steady and steady, the most taboo is to advance rashly. Jialanzi said earnestly. Brother Xiao, why don't you refine Immortal Physique Demon Suppressing Pearl for now? Refine it into your magic treasure. With your mortal aptitude, you won't be able to perfectly unleash the full power of this magic treasure, but it's enough for you to protect yourself. Brother Jialan is very knowledgeable. What you said is very reasonable. Then, let us look for the immortals who are scattered all over the world again. Reward the good and punish the evil, bestow a quota or banish them. As for the demon-suppressing pearl of the Earth God, it was the demon-suppressing pearl. I'm not in a hurry to refine it into my magic treasure. Xiaohan temporarily restrained himself from mentioning the matter of refining the Earth God's demon-subduing orb in front of Jialanzi. However, in the depths of Xiaohan's heart, there was an unbearable itch. Swish. The frozen nightmare dragon streaked across the horizon. Xiao Han's spirit fluctuated. It spread out like a fishing net. They spread out to every corner of the plain, searching for the aura of immortals. Xiao Han said with a smile as he continued to search. Brother Jialan, if every immortal we find is as pure, open-minded, and upright as the clairvoyant, Taotai and breathing soil, then our next mission will be much easier. However, then again, if every immortal follows the rules and gets the quota as they wish, then the quota in my hands will not be enough for distribution. Jialan said with a smile. Looking for immortals. Just like this, Xiao Han and Jialanzi trekked across mountains and rivers, covering more than half of the southern region. In a few days they found a total of 5 immortals. Among them there were 3 male immortals and 2 female immortals. These 5 immortals had extremely gentle temperaments. After seeing Xiao Han, they also treated him with respect. Moreover, after they descended to this plane, they all followed the rules and didn't do anything out of line. This made Xiao Han unable to find any flaws in these immortals. The 5 quotas were distributed to these 5 immortals respectively. Now there were a total of 8 immortals who obtained the quota to enter the second level of the Great Blade Immortal Emperor's treasure from Xiao Han. There were still 192 quotas left for the immortals that Xiao Han reserved for the immortals. In these few days when Xiao Han was alone, he would take out the demon-suppressing orb from time to time and play with it over and over again. He almost couldn't put it down. There were several times when Xiao Han almost couldn't restrain himself and tried to refine it. However, the demon-suppressing orb's aura was too fierce and overbearing. It was far from what the Earth Emperor body-enhancing pill could compare to. Every wisp of the demon-suppressing orb's aura was as heavy as a mountain, pressuring Xiao Han to the point of suffocation. Moreover, it gave Xiao Han an illusion that even if he had the indestructible golden body, if he tried to refine the demon-suppressing orb rashly, he would be in danger of exploding and dying. Unfortunately, the strength of my physical body is now only 5 trillion cauldrons. It's too shallow. Even with the indestructible golden body, it can't withstand the power of this immortal artifact. If I'm not careful, I'll explode. That's not fun. It seems that I have to think of the best refining method before I can do it. Xiao Han stopped at the edge of the cliff several times and reminded himself not to be impulsive. As Brother Jialan said, "A immortal artifact is a immortal artifact. It's not that easy to refine it." Moreover, Xiao Han had now rejected the idea of refining the demon-suppressing orb with his blood again and refining it into his own magic treasure. After all, he was immortal. If he forced himself to use the immortal artifact, he wouldn't be able to exert much power. Therefore, in Xiao Han's opinion, the demon-suppressing orb could only be used to refine the immortal body. There was no other way. If I can find a way to refine the demon-suppressing orb, then I can create at least a level 2 immortal body. And a special immortal body, which is comparable to an ordinary level 3 immortal body. The ones who descended this time are all level 2 true immortals. If I, Xiao Han, can have a level 2 special immortal body, I might be able to deal with them. A few years later, when I reached the second level of the Great Blade Immortal Emperor's treasure, I, Xiao Han, won't be at the mercy of the immortals. Xiao Han racked his brains on the way to find the immortals. East Region. Dragon Scale Empire. The night of the full moon. The peak of the Imperial City. At this time, a cold young man in green with a sword on his back had a look of ridicule and ruthlessness in his eyes. The aura around him was as sharp as a heavenly sword, and a sword light chilled 19 continents. Moreover, streaks of ancient sword chi were ejected from his cell pores, producing the rise and fall of the sun, the ebb and flow of the tide, and many strange phenomena. Around his body, jade-like veins were washed out. Moreover, the sword chi emitted from his body. It was both good and evil. It was very terrifying. This green-clothed swordsman's eyes were extremely proud. Looking down at the world, he looked at a middle-aged swordsman standing in front of him. That middle-aged swordsman also had an extraordinary aura, but in front of the green-clothed swordsman. However, it appeared dim and dull. At this time, the middle-aged swordsman's face was painted with an expression as if he was facing a great enemy, and there was a look of resentment in his eyes. Under the Imperial City, a dense crowd of people were watching the confrontation between the green-clothed swordsman and the middle-aged swordsman. Every onlooker looked at the green-clothed swordsman with eyes full of hatred. However, none of them dared to say anything even though they were angry. They didn't dare to say anything. "Young man, I admit that you are a rare genius in the way of the sword. Who exactly are you? In our plane there is no such person as you." The middle-aged swordsman gritted his teeth and said, "On our ranking list of demon heroes, there is no such person as you." You came to the Dragon Scale Empire a few days ago and wantonly looked for swordsmen to compete with you. It's normal to compete with swords. However, your attacks are too vicious. Those who compete with you can't escape death. In just a few days, 58 swordsmen have died in your hands. Among them, there are a few demon swordsmen who also died an unnatural death. Ha ha ha, what an idiot. The green-clothed cold young swordsman scoffed. The guys from your plane are all ignorant. Since you have chosen to cultivate the way of the sword, you must be prepared to die. Die under the sword of others. This is called inferior skill. Moreover, I have already completely suppressed the trash swordsman from your plane when I competed with him. Just by relying on my understanding and skill of the sword, I can easily kill you. You don't deserve to use the sword. After pausing for a moment, the green-clothed swordsman raised his eyes and looked at the cold night sky. I want to challenge all the sword cultivators in your plane. I will punish and execute each and every one of them who don't deserve to use the sword. In your plane, the insignificant mortals actually built a temple to worship that Xiaohan. Xiaohan, what is he? An ant. Worse than a pig or a dog. How dare he accept worship? Tisk, since he is called the leader of this plane, sooner or later, he will know that I have challenged all the sword cultivators in his plane. At that time he will come and beg me not to torture and kill trash like you. What is my identity? Since I've come to this plane, the only reason why Xiaohan would come to me like a dog begging to see me is because I won't condescend to look for him personally. At that time he must kneel down and beg me kowtow, then I will consider whether to kill all the sword cultivators in this plane. Presumptuous. How dare you insult leader Xiaohan? The middle-aged swordsman couldn't hold it in anymore. He flew into a rage and finally scolded, "You cultivate the way of the sword, so you should know that the sword is the way of a gentleman. A sword cultivator should be broad-minded and benevolent. But you bully and kill those who are weaker than you. This is not the way of the sword, this is the way of evil. You are simply out of control. The heavens won't tolerate it. People like you will definitely be punished by the heavens. You are worse than a pig or a dog." The green-clothed swordsman was already furious. "In my eyes, each and every one of you is like a beast. You dare to talk to me about the heavens? What is the heavens? You will never understand. Never understand. And I know the heavens better than you. The heavens will never pity you weaklings, beasts. Now I will let you see the power of the heavens. Of course, this is only a tiny bit of my power. It is only the tip of the iceberg of my killing intent." As soon as he finished speaking, the green-clothed swordsman used his right index finger as a sword and formed a sword seal. Astonishingly, starlight, moonlight, space, time, all of them gathered at his fingertips. Between heaven and earth there was darkness. Only the green-clothed swordsman's sword tip emitted a ray of light. This was a demonic light. Mortals, this is your so-called heavens. Pooh! A stunning ray of light shot out from the green-clothed swordsman's fingertip. Space exploded. The shattered and distorted space instantly turned the middle-aged swordsman into fine powder, leaving not even a speck of dust. Waves of powerful sword aura rippled in all directions, spreading out like ripples. Hua, hua, hua. Below the imperial city, the spectators didn't even have time to react before their bodies were minced into pieces by the aftershock of the sword chi. They exploded one after another like fireworks exploding in all directions. Mortals, this is the heavens. The green-clothed swordsman sneered and flew into the air, leaving the imperial city. Chapter 568. Eastern Region. Watermark advertisement test. Xiaohan and Jialanzi had already arrived at the eastern region from the southern region. In the southern region, Xiaohan found a total of 8 immortals and distributed 8 spots to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Brother Jialanzi, it seems that only a small number of immortals are staying in the southern region. Xiaohan looked at Jialanzi with a smile. Brother Jialanzi, this is the eastern region. It has the largest territory, the most countries, the most prosperous sects, and the wealthiest people. The eastern region is much larger than the southern region. The eastern region is indeed magnificent. Its territory is several times larger than the southern region. The difference between the southern region and the eastern region is like the difference between a small village and a big city. No wonder so many immortals have gathered in the eastern region, Jialanzi said with a smile. Yes. Xiaohan nodded slightly. Then he slightly spread out his spiritual force and exclaimed, "There are many immortals hiding in the eastern region. I found a lot of immortal energy hibernating in the mortal world. Brother Xiao, don't alert them. Let's look for these immortals one by one." Jialanzi said hurriedly. I know. Xiao Han's spiritual force began to spread out and scan them one by one. Surprisingly, Xiao Han's expression changed dramatically. Originally, Xiao Han had been relaxed and at ease. However, at this moment, Xiao Han's expression turned cold and furious. The muscles at the corner of his eyes kept twitching. His pupils shrank and revealed a murderous intent. Oh. Jialanzi's eyes also focused. I didn't expect to meet a black sheep in the end. Xiao Han's gaze focused on the Dragon Scale Empire in a corner of the eastern region. At this moment, in the sky above the Dragon Scale Empire, the aura of death lingered. Many vengeful spirits had not yet dissipated. It seemed that in the void there were faint howls of unwillingness, anger and roars. Mournful roars, in the other countries of the eastern region. The sun was shining brightly and the sky was clear for thousands of miles. However, in the Dragon Scale Empire alone, there were many goose feather-like snowflakes flying in the air. The entire Dragon Scale Empire was simply in an atmosphere of depression and indignation. The atmosphere was lifeless. Moreover, a strand of immortal chi rushed out from the layers of death chi in the Dragon Scale Empire. This strand of immortal energy possessed a type of unrestrained sharpness. It rushed into the heavens without any misgivings. If the godly diviner that Xiao Han encountered was described as gentle, Tao Ye's immortal chi was mellow, and Shi Yang's immortal chi was arrogant. In that case, the celestial chi rushing out of the Dragon Scale Empire was very domineering. No one know me. Unbridled. Moreover, this immortal chi contained a murderous intent that was as deep as the ocean. Woo, woo, woo woo woo, the resentment of the wronged souls hovered above the Dragon Scale Empire. They wanted to rush towards that strand of immortal energy, tear at it, take revenge. However, with a slight twist of the immortal energy, all of the vengeful spirits and resentment were completely turned into nothingness. Damn it! Suddenly Xiao Han couldn't help but curse. Finally, I've met an immortal who's gone on a killing spree in the mortal world. Killing mortals in such a dignified manner. Damn it! Xiao Han was so angry that his whole body was trembling. After his spirit wave condensed like a beam of light and shone into the Dragon Scale Empire, after careful observation, he roughly knew the number of mortals that died in the Dragon Scale Empire in a few days. Tens of thousands of people died. Xiao Han was furious. Jialanzi's face was also extremely cold, and a trace of murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He's really a disgrace to our immortal world. He's not a big figure in the immortal world. I'm afraid he's been suppressed for a long time and can't vent his anger. Now that he's descended to the mortal world, he's killing mortals without restraint. This is purely a performance of incompetence. Brother Xiao, I think I already know who that guy is. Forget it, we'll directly enter the country that's been harmed by that guy. We'll directly deprive him of the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Expel him. Expel? He killed tens of thousands of people in a few days. Aren't the lives of mortals important? Just deprive him of the quota and expel him? Xiao Han said ruthlessly. Brother Xiao, what do you mean? Jialanzi's eyes slightly narrowed. Kill. Xiao Han said resolutely. Kill this immortal. Jialanzi hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Since I've already promised Brother Xiao, an immortal who has committed a crime in the mortal world should be punished. Then I'll do it later. Go! Xiao Han angrily rode the true chi-chilling ice chi dragon and directly descended to the Dragon Scale Empire. Dragon Scale Empire. Dragon Scale Ocean. At the bottom of a vast ocean. At this moment, at the bottom of the ocean, a green-robed man was sitting cross-legged. In front of him, a sharp sword was inserted into the reef at the bottom of the ocean. Gu-gu-gu, gu-gu-gu, the green-robed man's aura was forced out, suppressing the seawater so much that it was pushed away in all directions and bubbled. Some giant sea sharks, sea whales, and octopuses did not dare to approach the green-robed man. The aura emitted by the green-robed man was like that of a primordial divine beast or a heaven-defying killing god, causing these giant sea beasts to stay far away. Oh! Suddenly, the green-robed man opened his eyes and sword light burst out. Po, 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 po. In all directions, countless giant sea whales, giant sea turtles, and octopuses were cut into pieces, causing their blood to spurt out. Just now, there was a strand of mind energy scanning the Dragon Scale Empire from 10,000 li away. This strand of mind energy is so powerful that it could detect the fluctuation of my immortal chi, and it also scanned this area. However, this mind energy is not released by an immortal. It's immortal? The green-robed man's eyes were burning with excitement, and his face looked extremely demonic. Ah! In this plane, only a mortal with such a powerful mind energy is able to do so? Xiao Han. Ha! Plane leader? Ruler of a plane? Trash. In front of me, this Xiao Han is worse than a pig or a dog. He does have a place to enter the second layer of Celestial Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. However, who is he? I'm a mortal and I'm a perfected immortal. How can a perfected immortal visit a mortal? Now, I'm going on a killing spree in this country to force Xiao Han to show himself. When the time comes, I want to be in this country. Humiliate their leader, Xiao Han, in front of all the mortals. You want me to stop killing? Xiao Han, kneel before me. Ah! It was the voice of the green-clothed man. He was a little hysterical. At this moment, memories of the past flashed through the green-clothed man's mind. Divine Sword Son. Your swordsmanship is not good enough, yet you dared to invite me to the life and death arena. Now you have lost. However, we're both disciples of the Sword Sect, and I'm your senior brother as well. So I won't take your life. However, I can spare you from death, but I can't spare you from punishment. I'll punish you to kneel before the entrance to the sect. Everyone in Sword Sect. Look at how ugly you are. Ah! A white-robed sword cultivator stabbed the green-robed divine sword master to the ground. Ho, ho, ho! The divine sword child let out a bestial howl. Divine Sword Son, I know you're not convinced. However, if you don't kneel this time, I'll tear you into pieces. You lost in the life and death arena, so it's natural for me to kill you. Are you going to kneel or not? I'll kneel. The divine Sword Son's body trembled. He slowly lowered his head, and the anger in his eyes was enough to drown everything. Dragon Scale Empire, Imperial City. Outside the Imperial City, hundreds of thousands of people were crying. The whole Imperial City was covered with broken corpses, and the smell of blood filled the air. Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi walked straight into the Imperial Palace with solemn expressions. Sigh, it actually caused such a tragedy. Jiao Lanzi shook his head repeatedly. That guy, in terms of crime, should be beheaded. Xiao Han walked without saying a word. Occasionally, there would be sword chi ripples in the air, carrying with them the mysteries of swordsmanship and the smell of immortal chi. Xiao Han also used his hands to break them. Inside the Imperial Palace. Leader Xiao Han. Leader Xiao Han. You must uphold justice for our Dragon Scale Empire. The Emperor of the Dragon Scale Empire was dressed in mourning clothes, crying incessantly. All the civil and military officials, concubines, maids and eunuchs were also crying. Moreover, all of their faces were filled with extreme fear and despair. The Dragon Scale Empire was full of people, and the Imperial Palace was in mourning. At this moment, Xiao Han was trying his best to comfort the people who were about to faint from crying. As for Jiao Lanzi, his whole body was wrapped in layers of thick linen cloak, revealing only a pair of eyes. His aura was like that of wood and stone. In Jiao Lanzi's eyes, there was also anger brewing. Leader Xiao Han, that guy. As soon as he came to our Dragon Scale Empire, he looked for people to compete with. His methods are extremely cruel. Those who compete with him will definitely die. He killed 58 of the most famous sword cultivators in our country, and yesterday he also killed a demon hero. Yesterday his sword chi ripples caused great destruction. He tortured and killed tens of thousands of innocent people. Many tragedies happened last night. Leader Xiao Han, now our country is in a great panic. We have already asked for help from the Demon Hero Tower. Moreover, tonight that guy will come out again to provoke us. Leader Xiao Han, you must save our country. Your Majesty, please rest assured, I will definitely not let that guy go. Xiao Han said while gnashing his teeth. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, a cold and arrogant voice came out of nowhere and resounded in the Imperial Palace of the Dragon Scale Empire. You are Xiao Han, right? Ah. You are just a mere mortal. You think that just because you have some talent you will not let me go? Ah. Today I will make you kneel in front of me in front of all the mortals in the world. Lick my toes. Ah. Trash. As soon as this voice came out, the Emperor and all the people in the Imperial Palace trembled like chickens. They were scared out of their wits as if they had fallen into a nightmare. Leader Xiao Han. Leader Xiao Han. It is this guy. The Emperor said with his eyes wide open. Damn, don't play tricks on me. Come out. Xiao Han's whole body was full of vigor, like a god descending to the world. Come out. As you wish. The voice said indifferently. The next moment, boom. Above the Imperial Palace of the Dragon Scale Empire, A huge whirlpool of sword chi appeared out of nowhere. The wind and clouds surged in all directions. A green-robed young man with a sword on his back slowly walked out of the whirlpool of sword chi and looked in the direction of the imperial palace. Xiao Han, today I want you to kneel. Chapter 569. A powerful aura descended and enveloped the entire Dragon Scale Empire. Hundreds of millions of creatures in the Dragon Scale Empire felt suffocated. The huge Dragon Scale Empire fell into silence. In the void, the huge whirlpool of sword chi swept over everything. Many jade-like immortal patterns emerged from it, which were dazzling and dazzling, making all living beings worship them. But soon, the green-robed swordsman's body devoured the whirlpool of sword chi like a funnel. He walked through the void, dignified like an abyss or a sea, his gaze high up above, looking down on all life, carrying a great deal of disdain, a great deal of wildness. The next moment, all kinds of strange phenomena appeared on the green-robed swordsman. In an instant, snowflakes filled the sky, and the sword chi was overwhelming. The green-robed young man was like a peerless swordsman who could destroy the world. He stood proudly in the sky full of cold snow, lonely, arrogant, indifferent, and disdainful. He pulled out his sword and looked around, unable to find an opponent. His aura alone was not something that mortals could compare with. There were many martial artists in the Dragon Scale Empire, including some evil heroes. However, under the cover of the green-robed swordsman's aura, these martial artists were all scared out of their wits and completely suppressed, not daring to show their faces. The green-robed swordsman glanced around in the void. Hundreds of millions of creatures in the Dragon Scale Empire seemed to feel that the green-robed swordsman was staring at them, and they all knelt down. Ha! The green-robed swordsman enjoyed the prestige of coming to the mortal world. Here he could obtain great dignity and invincible dignity. Whoever he wanted to make kneel down must kneel. Whoever he wanted to kill must die. Whoever he wanted to kill must die. The feeling of controlling the fate of mortals. It's very subtle. The green-robed swordsman smiled slightly. But it feels good. Xiao Han. Come out. Kneel. Surrender. In the imperial palace of the Dragon Scale Empire, Xiao Han couldn't bear it anymore. At the thought of how this immortal had come down to the lower realm and wreaked havoc, torturing and killing tens of thousands of innocent people, Xiao Han's killing intent soared to the skies. At this moment he no longer cared whether the other party was an immortal or not. He directly moved and rushed out. Jialanzi silently followed behind Xiao Han. Boom! Xiao Han flew up into the sky and confronted the green-clothed swordsman. At this moment, an earthen yellow aura surged around Xiao Han's body. The thick starry sky's earth physique was extremely compatible with the gray space, causing Xiao Han to release the aura of a natural heavenly Tao. Thin and dense electric arcs, like dragons and snakes, slithered out of every pore and cell in Xiao Han's body. It was as if every pore and cell of Xiao Han's body was brewing an invincible world of thunder. Moreover, the 70 acupoints in Xiao Han's body began to rumble as boundless true chi surged within them, forming a raging vortex of true chi brilliant and resplendent. Xiao Han's powerful flesh shell and true chi caused his body to shine brilliantly. He also released an unparalleled aura. In terms of chi, even though Xiao Han could not completely compete with the green-robed swordsman, he was neither servile nor overbearing. Perhaps, in the entire mortal world, there was no one else who could not be completely overwhelmed by the aura of an immortal, and could instead remain unfazed by it, other than Xiao Han. As for Jialanzi, he still covered his face and concealed his aura. He stood behind Xiao Han like a piece of dry stone. Oh, you are the leader of countless ants in this plain. At this moment, the green-robed swordsman looked at Xiao Han with a sneer. He was the ruler of the world, looking down on all living things. When he looked at Xiao Han, it was like an invincible monarch looking at a pitiful beggar. Indeed, you have some talent. Among the mortals, you should be considered outstanding. You are just a slightly stronger ant. That's all. The green-robed swordsman pointed at Xiao Han. You are just an ant, yet you dare to build a temple in the mortal world and accept worship. Such great prestige. Dog's guts. Who gave you the guts to do this? However, Xiao Han, you are not a complete idiot. You are probably a little clever. You actually know to take the initiative to pay respect to me. That's right, if you think that because you have the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, you are fearless and want to wait for us immortals to beg you, then you are too naive. Mortals are mortals, immortals are immortals. Immortals rule everything and mortals are like pigs and dogs. Xiao Han, if you did not come today, I would have slaughtered all the living beings in this country. All right, Xiao Han, promise me a few things now and I can stop the slaughter. The green-robed swordsman smiled at Xiao Han. His expression and tone were as if he had everything under control and was in perfect control of the situation. At this moment, Xiao Han forcibly suppressed the violent killing intent in his heart. His expression became even more calm as water as he looked at the green-robed swordsman indifferently. Indeed, Xiao Han was indeed fearless. First, although the green-robed swordsman was aggressive, he did not dare to kill Xiao Han. Not only did the green-robed swordsman not dare to kill Xiao Han, but any of the immortals that descended did not dare to make a move. Whoever killed Xiao Han would definitely be torn to pieces by the other immortals. Second, Jiao Lanzi was behind Xiao Han. This green-robed swordsman had yet to see through Jiao Lanzi's true identity. This meant that the green-robed swordsman's cultivation was probably not as good as Jiao Lanzi's. Once Jiao Lanzi attacked, it was very likely that the green-robed swordsman would be killed. Third, Xiao Han's heart had long been immersed in the immortal Qi talisman. Moreover, Xiao Han had once been suppressed by the demon god's soul. Compared to the terrifying and invincible demon god's soul, this green-robed swordsman was very immature. One man and one immortal, facing each other with equal harshness. What do you want me to promise you before you are willing to stop the slaughter? Xiao Han asked in a slightly mocking tone. First, demolish all the temples that you built in the secular world. Second, kneel and kowtow in front of everyone and beg for my forgiveness. Third, give me the quota that you have to enter the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. I will distribute it. These are roughly the 3 conditions. If you agree to all of them, then I will allow you to be my servant. You must know, you are just a mortal. A nobody like a sesame seed or a mung bean. It is your fortune to be able to be my servant. If you become my servant, when I achieve my grand plan in the 2nd level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure and obtain many immortal treasures, I will also reward you with a meal. The green-robed swordsman said complacently. These conditions? Xiao Han was angry but also felt that it was ridiculous. Let's not talk about the other conditions first. How can I give you the quota for the 2nd level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure? The 2 immortal keys have already been refined into my body and integrated with my blood and cells. How can I take them out and give them to you? Ha ha ha, idiot. The green-robed swordsman snorted disdainfully. Open your soul and let me plant a sword imprint in your soul. From now on, you will be under my control and become my puppet. If you have the intention to resist, I will be able to punish you. In this way, the immortal keys that you have refined into your body and all the quotas will be in my hands. As he spoke, the green-robed swordsman's voice became low. He raised his eyes and stared at the clouds in the sky. His eyes revealed a burning greed and desire. His voice was so low that it could not be heard. If I can control Xiao Han and make him my slave, then I can take the opportunity to ask other immortals, or even auction the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. In this way, I can make a lot of money, hee. At this moment, ha, ah. Xiao Han burst out laughing as if he had just heard the funniest, most ridiculous joke in the world. Xiao Han, you dog, what are you laughing at? The green-robed swordsman was enraged. Immortals. Are they all so stupid? Xiao Han smiled and looked at the green-robed swordsman. Immortal, is there something wrong with your head? You actually want to turn me into your slave to control me? You want to auction the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure? Ah, what an idiot. I also have a few things to tell you here. First, you will be deprived of the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Second, you have tortured and killed mortals in the mortal world. Your sin is unforgivable. Therefore, you will definitely die. Ridiculous. Ah, really ridiculous. Deprive my quota? And you want me to die? Xiao Han. Oh, your expression is so calm. Alright, I know. You must think that I don't dare to kill you because your body has the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. So, you think that I will not dare to kill you? Ah. Xiao Han, going against me is the same as going against the heavens. Do you know? You are just a mortal. If you go against the heavens, your end will be extremely miserable. Turn into ashes. Who are you? I'm afraid you are just an ordinary level 2 true immortal in the immortal world. How dare you call yourself the heavens? If you are really the heavens, you will also die after committing such a bloody crime. If you are the heavens, I, Xiao Han, will go against the heavens. Xiao Han's aura also soared. You are courting death. The green-robed swordsman's eyes were cold. You are so arrogant. It seems that you have not seen the power of an immortal, so you don't know what is good for you and don't know when to stop. Now, I will show you the difference between a mortal and an immortal. While speaking, the green-robed swordsman's right hand put on the hilt of the sword on his back. Suddenly, the aura of the green-robed swordsman rose rapidly and began to soar crazily. Rays of sword light burst out from the green-robed swordsman's body. These sword lights were extremely fast. The sword chi was like thunder and could destroy ghosts and gods. The aura of a sword immortal spread out wantonly and locked on to Xiao Han. The whole dragon-scale empire was completely covered by the sword chi. Everyone was in danger. Everyone was in despair. It was as if they were facing an apocalypse. A catastrophe. Mortal, take one of my swords. This sword will destroy your confidence. It will plant a seed of despair in the depths of your heart. It will make you develop inner demons. In this life you will live under this shadow forever. In this way your cultivation will decline if you don't improve, and you will not be able to become an immortal in the future. Although I won't kill you, this sword will make you wish you were dead. The green-robed swordsman said coldly. To be continued. Chapter 570. This green-robed swordsman was indeed vicious and cruel. He did not dare to kill Xiao Han, but he also wanted to slash at Xiao Han. This slash was extremely sinister, and it was meant to destroy Xiao Han's faith. For a martial artist, there was nothing more important than confidence. In other words, the green-robed swordsman wanted to cripple Xiao Han with a single slash. At this time Jialanzi was still standing behind Xiao Han like a rock, not making a move. In a split second, various thoughts flashed through Jialanzi's mind. This divine swordsman humiliated Brother Xiao in front of him, trying to use his power to suppress and control Brother Xiao. Between Brother Xiao and him, there is already enmity. Now he threatened to cripple Brother Xiao with a single slash, which is tantamount to declaring war on Brother Xiao. If I act rashly and block it for Brother Xiao with Brother Xiao's temperament, it will indeed be disadvantageous. If Brother Xiao can block this slash, it will be the opposite. It will be of great benefit to Brother Xiao's future cultivation. At this moment, Xiao Han knew that he was facing an attack from an immortal. He had to use all his strength to block this attack. Boom. Xiao Han's entire body was like a raging river, and his true energy was also surging intensely. More importantly, Xiao Han's mental energy was completely concentrated, and the solid mental energy star in his sea of consciousness began to compress. Compress again. Xiao Han's current state had already reached its peak. Moreover, he had entered a strange state. Everything around him seemed to be far away from him, and he no longer cared about life or death or success or failure. Even Jialanzi behind him. All of them had been ignored by Xiao Han. The highly compressed mental energy star. This caused Xiao Han's thinking and reaction speed to increase exponentially, and he even developed a mysterious sixth sense. It was as if he could vaguely capture the trajectory and arc of the green-robed swordsman's slash. Although Xiao Han was invincible in the secular world, Jialanzi wasn't a match for him. After understanding the power of an immortal, Xiao Han knew his limits. It was impossible for him to take a blow from the green-robed swordsman head-on with his current abilities. Although he had a special dual attribute embryonic immortal physique and the indestructible golden body, it was very likely that his body would be pierced by the sharpness of the sword. Even if he managed to withstand it, the sword chi would invade his body. It would also destroy Xiao Han's life force. He could only hide. However, if he wanted to dodge this attack, the best way was to summon his demonic chi and cast a demonic technique, such as illusory movement. That way there was an 80% chance that he would be able to dodge. However, Jialanzi was by Xiao Han's side to protect him, so Xiao Han didn't dare to recklessly use his demonic powers or demonic techniques. He didn't want Jialanzi to see through him. It was better to be safe than sorry. So, Xiao Han's greatest reliance now was his mental strength. What tyrannical spiritual power! After Xiao Qin strengthened his mental energy, not only were his attacks as fast as lightning, but he could also casually execute techniques. Furthermore, with his saber intent, he could even move his saber at will. Moreover, when his mental energy was strong enough, his reaction speed was also as fast as the speed of light. I'll use my mental energy to dodge this immortal sword. You're dreaming if you want to destroy my faith. On the other hand, if this sword doesn't kill me, then this immortal will be useless. Wasn't it a great humiliation for an immortal to return empty-handed after unleashing a sword strike against a mortal? Extraordinary humiliation? Fine. You want to destroy me, so I'll destroy you instead. Although I, Xiao Han, am a mortal, far inferior to an immortal in many aspects. I'm afraid that even a perfected immortal can't compare to me in terms of mental energy. Yes. I'll play to my strengths and avoid my weaknesses. Use my mental energy to dodge this sword. Xiao Han's thoughts became clearer and clearer. It was as if he could see everything clearly. As a result, in a split second, Xiao Han had already sorted out his thoughts and come up with a plan to deal with it. Xiao Han, accept your punishment. At this moment, the Divine Sword Prince finally finished his preparation and slashed out with an earth-shattering sword. Although the Divine Sword Prince was arrogant, he was no fool. He knew that if he couldn't destroy Xiao Han's confidence, then he would be the one whose confidence would be destroyed. The Divine Sword Prince could also see that Xiao Han was invincible in the mortal world. With his skills, if he ascended to the immortal realm, he would be able to defeat some of the weakest level 1 perfected immortals. Therefore, the Divine Sword Prince used a little bit of immortal chi in this sword in order to establish an invincible position. Xiao Han, you ant. Although my level of life far surpasses yours and I can crush you as easily as crushing an ant, I won't go so far as to use immortal chi to hurt you and bully the weak. In that case, you will be defeated by my understanding and talent in the sword Dao. I'll make you accept it wholeheartedly. This sword will cripple you. Xiao, the sword came for the kill. The sword god descends. This sword slashed out a long river of sword chi. On this long river of sword chi there were turtles, snakes, dragons, tigers and countless immortal chi. With a slight shake, thousands of shadows appeared. Each shadow was a peerless swordsman holding a sword and practicing a powerful sword art. This sword actually contained tens of thousands of sets of brilliant sword techniques. Every move and every style was the best in the world, oppressing the mortal world, shocking the heavens and earth, and killing gods and ghosts. In a breath's time, the sword was already close to Xiao Han's body. Thousands of exquisite and profound sword arts almost sealed off all of Xiao Han's escape routes. This sword looked like a single sword, but it was actually the amalgamation of thousands of swords. The essence was extracted and the impurities were removed to obtain a powerful sword art. This sword contained the curve of the Tao. Between the exquisite workmanship, there was an ethereal feeling of the work of the gods. It was impossible for mortals to defend against this sword. They couldn't dodge this sword either. They could only stretch out their necks and accept the punishment. At this moment, Jia Lanzi, who was standing behind Xiao Han, could not help but exclaim in a low voice. All his immortal chi gathered in his right hand, ready to block this sword for Xiao Han at any time. This was because Jia Lanzi could see that this sword from Divine Swordsman was definitely not to be trifled with. It was not a casual attack, but one that had been prepared for a long time and contained some immortal chi. This sword is almost unsolvable by mortals. The sword sect of the immortal world focuses on sword Dao. There are countless sword immortals under them. Indeed, they live up to their reputation. This is Divine Swordsman's sword art. 10,000 swords return to origin. Everywhere it goes, it becomes a chaotic universe, a world of swords. Although Brother Zhao's potential is endless, potential is still potential. It seems that he will definitely not be able to block this sword. Jia Lanzi's vision was profound. He also judged that Xiao Han would not be able to survive this sword. And at this moment, Xiao Han, when facing Divine Swordsman's sword, Xiao Han finally understood the terror of sword immortals. Xiao Han also knew that Divine Swordsman's sword did not contain much immortal chi, but the profoundness of this sword was beyond Xiao Han's understanding. This sword blossomed with a resplendent luster, and space was torn apart like silk. Within the sword chi, there was a decadent sound that could take one's life. It was like the twilight of the gods. Space and time were frozen. In the frozen space, countless sword chi penetrated, practicing an extremely gentle and lingering sword technique. It was like traces of spring rain, seeping into the night, hiding in one's dreams, causing one to unknowingly die. An extremely terrifying feeling crept up Xiao Han's spine. This caused Xiao Han's back to be covered in a cold sweat. Imminent danger. Xiao Han knew that life and death were hanging by a thread. The most critical moment had arrived. Boom, the solid mental power star in Xiao Han's sea of consciousness compressed again. It shrank to the size of a peanut. This caused Xiao Han's thinking speed and reaction speed to double. His mind became clearer and clearer. His mind became clear. Xiao Han was actually extremely calm. Divine Swordsman's peerless invincible sword technique, and endless sword chi in Xiao Han's eyes, slowed down. Moreover, a subtle sixth sense had also descended upon Xiao Han's soul, allowing him to vaguely make premonitions. Xiao Han. Get hit. Divine Swordsman's cold and arrogant voice rang in Xiao Han's ears. At this moment, I've grasped it. This is the only flaw in this sword technique. Xiao Han's mental power was highly concentrated, and he actually saw the only way out of this sword technique. In the blink of an eye, in the time it takes for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, Xiao Han's body flashed, and from a completely unimaginable angle, he flashed out of the dense and deadly sword lights. This was the only flaw. He was actually found by Xiao Han. What? Divine Swordsman's sword technique was already finished, and Xiao Han dodged at the most critical moment. This caused Divine Swordsman to have no time to change his technique, and no time to fix the flaw in the sword technique. In the blink of an eye, the sword that was about to injure Xiao Han completely missed. This caused the immortal chi in Divine Swordsman's body to become somewhat chaotic, as if he had punched a cotton ball. He dodged it. He actually dodged this sword technique? Jialanzi was also extremely shocked. He had originally wanted to block this sword technique for Xiao Han. He had already determined that Xiao Han could only bow his head in submission under this sword technique. However, Xiao Han had dodged at the critical moment. Brother Xiao calculated the only flaw in this sword technique, and his prediction of the sword's trajectory was extremely accurate. When dodging this sword technique, in fact, a moment later or a moment earlier would have made a difference. If I was a bit late, I wouldn't have been able to dodge the edge of the sword, and if I was a bit early, I would have sent my body to this sword, allowing myself to be slaughtered. Furthermore, Brother Zhao's grasp of timing is also perfect. Amazing. Too amazing. Mortals, even level 1 true immortals of the celestial world, would not be able to dodge this sword technique, but Brother Zhao's exquisite calculation allowed him to successfully dodge it. Amazing. Too amazing. This is enough to show how tyrannical Brother Zhao's soul and mental strength are. Only when one's thinking and reaction speed has reached a certain realm can one make such exquisite calculations in the blink of an eye. Utterly defeated. This sword technique completely defeated Divine Swordsman. He used the sword technique of the Celestial World Sword Sect and a trace of immortal chi to attack Brother Xiao, but he actually failed. If an immortal wants to attack a mortal, he must succeed. Once he fails, his immortal heart will be affected, leaving a flaw that will greatly hinder his future cultivation. An immortal failing to kill a mortal with one sword technique is a great humiliation in the celestial world. If the sect finds out about this, Divine Swordsman might even be expelled from the sect. At this moment, because of this sword technique's failure, Divine Swordsman's meticulously brewed sword technique was like a stone sinking into the ocean. This caused Divine Swordsman's entire body's blood and immortal chi to flow in reverse. Moreover, he was extremely angry and ashamed. Divine Swordsman actually spat out a mouthful of blood. To be continued. The Divine Sword Prince had completely thrown caution to the wind. All the immortal chi in his body gathered at the tip of his sword. The space shrank and collapsed. He raised his sword and slashed at Xiao Han. This sword was powerful enough to kill an ordinary level 2 true immortal. Just now, when he slashed out, the entire plane's space crystal barrier was shattered. They were all in a terrifying state of being caved in. The sun and moon had lost their light. Although my thoughts can keep up with this sword, my physical body has already been sealed. There's nowhere for me to dodge. What a pity. If my fleshly body was twice as strong, even 3 times stronger. In that case, I can also dodge this sword. Xiao Han sighed inwardly. Yes, Xiao Han's soul-mind power was strong enough. The speed of his thoughts could definitely keep up with the Divine Sword Son's invincible sword technique. However, because his body and true chi were too weak, they did not match his soul-mind power. Therefore, his soul-mind power could not control the true chi in his body immediately. He dodged the Divine Sword Son's furious sword strike. I'll kill you with one strike. The Divine Sword Son was furious. At this time, Jialanzi finally broke his silence. Enough. Divine Sword Son. You're a disgrace to us immortals. Jialanzi's right hand reached out. This grab did not have the slightest fluctuation of immortal chi. In fact, it did not look fast. It was like a casual grab from an ordinary person who did not know martial arts. However, with such a casual grab, the domineering sword light that filled the sky evaporated and disappeared without a trace. The space crystal barrier that was cut into pieces by the sword light was instantly repaired. What? The Divine Sword Son was shocked. His eyes bulged as he stared at Jialanzi. Jialanzi shook his head slightly and took a step forward. The wind blew, causing the veil covering Jialanzi's face to flutter slightly, revealing a bit of his original appearance. Jialanzi. Jialanzi, so it's you? You've actually been hiding beside Xiaohan. Yeah. Good Xiaohan. So it turns out that the reason why your expression hasn't changed is because you're relying on Jialanzi's power? At this moment, deep fear and even fear appeared in Xinjianzi's eyes. It was obvious that he was extremely afraid of Jialanzi. Divine Sword Son, do you have any shame? Brother Xiao is immortal. Your sword strike was countered by Brother Xiao. You actually have no grace and used your immortal chi to forcefully kill Brother Xiao. You want to destroy the hundreds of spots to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure trove, right? If you really do such a thing, not only will you die but your entire sect will be instantly destroyed. Killing Brother Xiao is a heinous crime. Jialanzi scolded coldly. This. Being scolded by Jialanzi, Divine Sword Son seemed to wake up from a dream. His heart was filled with lingering fear. Yes, if Jialanzi did not stop him in time and allowed him to kill Xiaohan, then the sect he was in the immortal world would definitely be destroyed by the immortal emperors. Jialanzi, I was just scaring Xiaohan. I definitely wouldn't kill him. My sword technique is very flexible. At the crucial moment, even if you didn't stop me, I wouldn't really. Shut up! Jialanzi shouted. Divine Sword Son, let's not talk about the matter of plotting against Brother Xiao for now. However, as an immortal, you actually disobeyed the rules after descending to the mortal realm, massacring nations and cities. Why is that? Who gave you the guts? Jialanzi. Divine Sword Son was still arrogant just now, but now he was trembling in fear of Jialanzi like a mouse seeing a cat. Xiaohan, who was watching from the side, was amazed. It seemed that Jialanzi had quite a high position in the immortal world. However, it could also be said that Jialanzi's sect was very powerful in the immortal world. Ordinary sect disciples did not dare to provoke Jialanzi. The current Jialanzi had a domineering aura. Divine Sword Son tried his best to argue. Jialanzi, why are you so serious? They're just mortals. Their lives are like pigs and dogs. It's not a big deal to kill them. Jialanzi, I know that you've always been upright. However, even if I kill a nest of ants, you don't have to argue with me, right? How about this? I'll give you face. From now on, before entering the second floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault, I won't kill these mortals. How about it? I'll stop. You won't have the chance to enter the second floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault, Jialanzi said coldly. What? Impossible. Why is that? Divine Sword Son argued in horror. I only killed some mortals. Why did you deprive me of my quota? Mortals are also living beings. Divine Sword Son, you used your strength to bully the weak. That's a heinous crime. Moreover, the sect master, elders, and even the immortal emperors have already given the order. The quota to enter the second floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault will be given to Brother Xiao. No one is allowed to object. Brother Xiao's words represent the sect master and the various elders of our sect. Even the words of the immortal emperors above. Divine Sword Son, you don't have the quota anymore. Moreover, Brother Xiao said that he wants to punish you. Then, let me Jialanzi clean up the sect. You want to kill me? Divine Sword Son was extremely frightened. However, Jialanzi was also decisive. As soon as his voice fell, his right hand directly grabbed towards Divine Sword Son. It's not that easy to kill me, Divine Sword Son. Divine Sword Son was not someone who would sit and wait for death. He bared his teeth and summoned his immortal force. His sword swept towards Jialanzi. This sword contained endless transformations. It completely displayed the power of a sword immortal. One sword to break 10,000 laws, one sword to subdue 10,000 demons. One sword to intimidate 10,000 immortals. Insignificant skill. Once he made his move, the usually gentle Jialanzi was incomparably domineering. Absolute power directly suppressed his opponent. Above his right hand, countless holy light and immortal characters burst out, instantly shattering Divine Sword Son's killing sword technique. Then, his hand grabbed Divine Sword Son's chest. Puchi. A piece of flesh on Divine Sword Son's chest was ripped off, causing blood to burst out. Brr. Divine Sword Son burst out with a heart-wrenching scream. In the blink of an eye, Divine Sword Son's body suddenly exploded, turning into countless sword lights that flew in all directions. What a great life-saving treasure. I didn't expect that the Immortal World Sword Sect would actually give this treasure to you. Jialanzi was shocked, but very quickly his right hand repeatedly grabbed out. After images flickered, instantly destroying countless escaping sword lights. However, there were still a few sword lights that disappeared without a trace. In an extremely distant place, as if in the crevice of space, Divine Sword Sun's weak and resentful voice came out. Xiaohan. 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 I will kill you. I will definitely kill you. Just you wait. I will kill your entire family. Puff. Jialanzi used holy light to evaporate a bloody thing in his hand and then moved to Xiaohan's side. Brother Xiao, he ran away. Xiaohan snorted with slight dissatisfaction. I'm sorry, Brother Xiao. Jialanzi blushed with shame. Originally, when it came to killing immortals, I would do my best if I could avoid killing them. However, this Divine Sword Sun has indeed gone too far. That's why I did my best just now. However, I didn't expect the Celestial World Sword Sect to hand over their strongest life-saving treasure to Divine Sword Sun. Once this treasure is activated, it will turn into countless rays of sword light that will scatter in all directions. Then, the rays of sword light will reform into a physical form. Unless all the sword lights are destroyed, even if one sword light escapes, Divine Sword Sun will not die. However, Brother Xiao, I destroyed 3/4 of the sword lights just now. Even if Divine Sword Sun uses the remaining sword lights to reform his body, his cultivation will definitely fall. His immortal power will be damaged. Jialanzi said with certainty. After being injured, Divine Sword Sun will probably fall from a level 2 true immortal to a level 1 true immortal. Moreover, Brother Xiao, don't worry. I have already locked onto Divine Sword Sun's divine soul. Unless he hibernates, I can chase him for 1,000 miles if he appears. Xiaohan nodded slightly. Then, Brother Jialanzi, after I settle the Dragon Scale Empire, I will continue to search for immortals in the eastern region with you. As he spoke, thoughts surged in Xiaohan's mind. No. My battle power is too weak compared to immortals. Forget it. I must refine the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. I must condense an immortal body. Otherwise, competing with immortals is tantamount to asking for humiliation. In Xiaohan's heart, a roar and a cry erupted. I must increase my battle power. I cannot delay. Chapter 572. After the confrontation with Divine Sword Prince, Xiaohan's heart was filled with anxiety and unease even though he managed to block Divine Sword Prince's first strike. If Xiaohan were to truly face an immortal or even fight with him, it would indeed be very difficult for him to shake an immortal if he couldn't reveal his demonic energy and demonic techniques. He might even be killed in a second. Even if he used all kinds of demonic powers and demonic techniques at will, he would only end up running for his life. Aggrieved. Deeply aggrieved. If it weren't for Jialanzi, Xiaohan would have been killed by the enraged Divine Sword Prince. In the next few years, I'm destined to have dealings with more immortals. These immortals couldn't all be as kind as Master Godly Diviner, Master Taotai, and Master Shiyangzi. There would definitely be people like Master Godly Sword or even immortals even more savage than Master Godly Sword. Could it be that I, Xiaohan, have to rely on Master Jialanzi to step forward and protect my life every time? This is no different from charity. How can I, Xiaohan, tolerate charity? How can I, Xiaohan, rely on others? Xiaohan's heart was filled with ruthlessness. It's urgent to increase my combat strength. If I can refine the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl, that would be the best. If I can't, I'll refine it by force. After spending several days, Xiaohan and Jialanzi finally settled the disaster in the Dragon Scale Empire. Moreover, during these days, Jialanzi's mind wandered and his divine soul searched for Divine Sword Prince in this realm, but he found nothing. This made Jialanzi extremely confused. It's really strange. After being beaten by me, Divine Sword Prince didn't even reveal a trace of his aura. He hid himself very well. Did he leave this realm? Did he go to another realm or did he return to the immortal realm? Or is he hiding in some cracks in this realm that I can't find him? It's okay. Xiaohan's eyes were also filled with determination. Divine Sword Prince is just an arrow at the end of its flight, and his rank has dropped. Even if he's still hiding in this realm, he won't dare to come out and cause trouble. If he really comes out again, I'll definitely kill him. I'll avenge the people of the Dragon Scale Empire. Jialanzi could feel the hatred and determination in Xiaohan's voice. He couldn't help but feel suffocated. Xiaohan took a deep breath and said slowly, Brother Jialan, I've been thinking hard these few days. I've decided, before I continue to search for the scattered immortals, I'll find a place to cultivate for a short period of time. Jialanzi understood the meaning behind the song and looked deeply at Xiao Han. If I'm not wrong, Brother Xiao is preparing to refine that Earth God Demon subduing pearl in order to forcefully create an immortal body, right? Xiao Han remained silent. The determination in his eyes became even more intense. It was the Divine Sword Master who provoked Brother Xiao. Jialanzi also sighed. Yes, Brother Xiao is a peerless genius. He could not tolerate any grievances in his life. Even in the face of an immortal, Brother Xiao still has his own pride. However, Brother Xiao forcibly refined an immortal artifact with the body of a mortal. This, Brother Jialan, I have made up my mind. Xiao Han smiled indifferently. I just want to maintain my dignity in front of the immortals. I can even kill those immortals who commit atrocities in the mortal world. For this, I will do whatever it takes. Let's return to the Devil Hero region secretly. I'm going to choose a spirit house in the Devil Hero Pagoda and abandon all distracting thoughts. I'll focus on refining the Earth God Demon subduing pearl. Xiao Han said decisively and paused for a moment. If Brother Jialan is worried about me, you can protect me. At this point, Xiao Han couldn't help but laugh. With Brother Jialan's ability, even if I'm in the process of refining, I won't die. Something goes wrong, I think he definitely won't die. Brother Jialan will definitely be able to remedy the situation in time. In that case, let's stop searching for the scattered immortals and return to the Devil Hero region. Jialanzi did not say anything else and agreed with Xiao Han's idea. Devil Hero region. Devil Hero Pagoda. 12 elders surrounded Xiao Han. Leader Xiao Han, that immortal Jialanzi, we've already properly settled him down. An elder said timidly. Although he's an immortal, Mr. Jialanzi is very kind and doesn't put on airs at all. If every immortal who descends to our plane is like Mr. Jialanzi, it would be great. However, we heard that an evil immortal appeared in the Dragon Scale Empire in the eastern region. He tortured and killed us mortals at will. Fortunately, Leader Xiao Han and Mr. Jialanzi attacked and injured him. It was Brother Jialan who repelled the Divine Sword Prince. As a mortal, it's really difficult for me to fight against an immortal. If we really fought, I would be killed instantly. Xiao Han laughed at himself. Hiss. The 12 elders were all shocked. With Leader Xiao Han's combat strength, he still can't fight against an immortal. Forget it. Let's not talk about this anymore. I'll enter the spirit house and focus on cultivation now. You guys wait outside. Xiao Han waved his hand and left directly. In a spirit house in the Devil Hero Pagoda. Whether it succeeds or not depends on this. Xiao Han sat cross-legged and murmured in a low voice. Then Xiao Han took out the Earth God's Demon subduing pearl from his storage ring. The Earth God's Demon subduing pearl floated in front of Xiao Han. An earthy yellow aura spread out wantonly. It contained a great thousand world and hundreds of thousands of immortal mountains, passing through it continuously. It was incomparably heavy and domineering. This is an immortal artifact Dharma treasure. If an immortal uses it, it can shatter a planet and directly crush a huge planet into powder. However, if I use this Dharma treasure, it'll be a waste. I won't be able to unleash much power. It's better to refine it into my body so that I can create an immortal body. Xiao Han released his mental strength and covered the Earth God's Demon subduing pearl. Although the Earth God's Demon subduing pearl was only a little bigger than a fist, Xiao Han's mental strength could barely cover it completely. How magical. My psyche waves can easily cover the entire plane, and I can even slightly extend it to other planes. However, it's extremely strenuous to cover this Earth God's Demon subduing pearl. It's many times heavier than our entire plane. Xiao Han calmed his mind and abandoned all distracting thoughts. He began to use his mental strength to penetrate the Earth God's Demon subduing pearl bit by bit, looking for a way to refine it. At the same time, he also activated the indestructible golden body to protect his blood vessels, bones, internal organs and cells. First, I have to break down the Earth God's Demon subduing pearl. Then, I have to refine it like how I refined the Thunder God's body tempering pill and the Earth Emperor's body tempering pill. Xiao Han's mind was completely immersed in his thoughts. This Earth God's Demon subduing pearl is an immortal artifact refined from the essence of hundreds of thousands of immortal mountains. It's an immortal artifact that was refined from the essence of a few tens of thousands of immortal mountains. If I want to break it down, I absolutely can't do it forcefully. I'm afraid that even Brother Jialan would have to expend a great deal of effort to break it down. With my strength, forcefully breaking down the earthly god devil subduing pearl is absolutely impossible. Yaoxia Tower. In a clean and refreshing resting room. Jialanzi was drinking tea alone. His immortal sense covered the entire Yaoxia Tower. To refine the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl, I have to break it down first. Why did I say that Brother Xiao is immortal? It's almost impossible to refine an immortal treasure. It's because the first step, breaking down an immortal treasure, is extremely difficult for mortals. I wonder how Brother Xiao will deal with it. Jialanzi frowned slightly. Xiao Han's mental strength constantly observed the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl and learned some things. The immortal talismans sealed the essence of hundreds of thousands of immortal mountains. Moreover, it absorbed endless earth energy from the celestial realm to create this treasure. To break it down, I have to do 2 steps. First, use the earth elemental energy in my body to actively attract the earth elemental energy contained in the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. Attract it out. Second, the immortal talismans are connected, but there must be a loophole. I have to find this loophole and use my saber intent to cut it. As long as I cut the connection between any 2 immortal talismans, this immortal treasure will become unstable and then collapse. Xiao Han's thoughts were extremely clear. He found a way to break down the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. Whoosh, 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 from the surface of Xiao Han's body, yellow energy spots suddenly bloomed and seeped into the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. As expected. Soon Xiao Han's earth physique resonated with the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. The originally motionless Earth God's demon-subduing pearl began to move rhythmically. Vaguely, the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl had a sign of pouncing on Xiao Han. At the same time, Xiao Han's mental strength was completely focused, searching for the immortal talismans on the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl that were not connected tightly enough. He searched for a full hour. Finally, found it. Hundreds of millions of immortal talismans were used to create this immortal treasure. Originally, the connection between each immortal talisman was perfect, but I still found it. There's a tiny gap between these 2 talismans. Break it. Break it. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Han took out his saber intent, condensed it into a point, and directly cut the gap between the 2 immortal talismans. Poof, the saber cut through. Boom, 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 boom. The sound of something collapsing came from the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. Suddenly, a gap appeared on the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. A small part of the sphere began to break down. The bigger part of the sphere that was connected to the immortal talismans did not break down immediately. Instead, it began to loosen. Boom! First, a small part of the broken sphere was directly attracted by the earth physique in Xiao Han's body, and directly pounced at Xiao Han. Refine. Xiao Han took out his indestructible golden body, and golden light surged. It wrapped around the small part of the sphere. However, bang, in an instant Xiao Han was directly blown away by this small part of the sphere. Poof, Xiao Han looked up and spat out a mouthful of blood. His internal organs were already seriously injured. It's just a small piece of the sphere. Even I can't handle the energy contained in it. Xiao Han was shocked. This Earth God's demon-subduing pearl had only been broken down by Xiao Han into 1% of the fragments, but Xiao Han still could not refine it. Not only could he not refine it, but he was also in a state of being suppressed to death. Boom, the small fragment that had been broken down without any deviation, directly pounced towards Xiao Han again. Boom. This small fragment had crushed Xiao Han to the ground. Ah. Xiao Han felt that he was being suppressed by the mountains. He could not turn around at all. All the bones and meridians in his body had exploded, and he was seriously injured. He kept spitting out blood. Moreover, what shocked Xiao Han even more was that the remaining sphere was also rumbling and shaking, and gradually, it was about to break down. Once the entire sphere broke down and exploded, Xiao Han would definitely be crushed to pieces. Moreover, perhaps the entire Devil Hero region would be blown to pieces. Chapter 573. Ka 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 ka. Just a small piece of Earth God's demon-subduing pearl was enough to crush Xiao Han. Many of his bones were crushed and even some of his meridians were broken. Roar. At this moment, Xiao Han was filled with grief, disappointment, and unwillingness. I can't refine this immortal artifact? I'm immortal, I really can't refine an immortal artifact? Am I going to be imprisoned and unable to condense an immortal body in the mortal world? My combat power is stagnant and I'm being played by an immortal? No. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. In the lounge. It's broken down. Jialanzi put down the teacup in his hand and stood up. Brother Xiao is indeed an anomaly among mortals. You actually forcefully broke down the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. TSK breaking down an immortal artifact. Even a level 1 or 2 perfected immortal can't do this. I didn't expect a mortal like Brother Xiao to be able to do this. However, even though it's broken down, Brother Xiao can't refine it. Looking at it now, Brother Xiao is already in imminent danger. The broken down immortal artifact fragment is going to crush Brother Xiao into powder. I can also feel Brother Xiao's resentment and unwillingness. Brother Xiao, you shouldn't be like this. You should know that this is a magic treasure that can kill immortals. This is not something a mortal can refine. Brother Xiao, you shouldn't be resentful and unwilling. Now Jialanzi gathered all his immortal power and essence, ready to save Xiao Han at any time. The entire Yaoxia pagoda seemed to be under a huge gravity and began to shake, showing signs that it was about to collapse. This was because Xiao Han had endured most of the pressure from the immortal artifact fragment and only a little bit of the gravity wave leaked out. Otherwise, the entire Yaoxia tower would have exploded. Xiao Han was under heavy pressure. Now Xiao Han was under heavy pressure. A small piece of immortal artifact fragment was equivalent to thousands of immortal mountains, crushing Xiao Han to death. He couldn't breathe. If it wasn't for Xiao Han having a special dual attribute immortal body and the protection of the indestructible golden body, Xiao Han would have been crushed into a meat patty. Moreover, the biggest hidden danger was that the entire Earth God's demon-subduing pearl was about to explode. Rumbling could be heard, similar to the sound of mountains collapsing and stars disintegrating. Xiao Han was determined. The invincible golden body technique was pushed to the limit. Golden light surged out from his entire body, enveloping the immortal artifact fragment and madly refining it. Unfortunately, the earth element contained in this celestial artifact fragment was too rich. It was so violent that even Xiao Han's indestructible golden body technique could not refine it as smoothly as he refined the Earth Emperor's body refining pill. This hard bone was extremely difficult to chew. Could it be that I'm too naive? Is it impossible for a mortal to refine a celestial artifact? Xiao Han bared his teeth. Just at the moment of imminent peril, suddenly, a thought flashed through Xiao Han's mind. Wait. The reason why I can't refine this celestial artifact fragment is because the earth element it contains is too strong. For example, if my body and the indestructible golden body are like an ant, I can't refine it. This celestial artifact fragment is like an elephant. An ant can't eat an elephant unless I break it down into countless ant-sized objects. Break it down into parts? At the critical moment, a bold idea was brewing in Xiao Han's mind. Since I can't refine such a big piece, then I'll break it. King. All of a sudden, the perfection stage natal saber intent that was entrenched in the solid mental energy planet in Xiao Han's sea of consciousness flew out like snowflakes. Tens of thousands of saber lights slashed at the celestial artifact fragment. This immortal artifact fragment had been formed from the essence of countless immortal mountains and earth elements. After Xiao Han's psychic power solidified, his carelessness in the great accomplishment stage had reached the acme of perfection. At this moment of life and death, he could slash out with his natal saber chi, which could slash anything in the void. Buff, 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 buff. Following that, the celestial artifact fragment bloomed like fireworks. The intense earthy yellow light mixed with the saber lights flew in all directions. Xiao Han's perfection stage natal saber intent could split a small celestial artifact fragment into tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of pieces. It was equivalent to cutting the celestial artifact fragment into densely packed dust. In the shape of particles. All of a sudden, the gravity that was suppressing Xiao Han disappeared. Xiao Han felt relaxed. All right. I think it's done. Xiao Han was overjoyed. It seemed that his intuition was correct. Xiao Han didn't have the ability to destroy this celestial artifact fragment. However, the perfection stage natal saber intent could cut this celestial artifact fragment into pieces. Because this celestial artifact fragment was composed of elemental energy, not a solid object. Since the perfection stage natal saber intent could even cut through nothingness, naturally, it could cut an entire element into countless densely packed elemental particles. Absorb. Refine. Xiao Han didn't dare to hesitate. He activated the immortal golden body incantation to the extreme again. The golden light swept out like a tornado, wrapping up the earthy yellow earth energy that was spreading out. Boom. Refine. Buff, buff, buff. As the golden light wrapped around the earthy yellow earth energy, it began to break down. Then, it turned into streams of heat that merged with Xiao Han's blood and genes. It merged with Xiaohan's cells and pores. It merged with Xiaohan's meridians and bones. It made Xiaohan feel like he was soaking in a hot spring. Because the celestial artifact fragment had been cut into pieces, it wasn't too difficult for Xiaohan to refine it now. Moreover, Xiaohan's body already had a certain level of foundation. With the help of the immortal golden body incantation, the densely packed earth energy quickly merged with Xiaohan's body. It constantly changed Xiaohan's bodily functions, causing Xiaohan's body and even his life level to continuously evolve. It was as if he was reborn. There was even a sense of transcendence. Streams of earth energy condensed into earth dragons, earth snakes, earth dragons, earth birds, and great walls. These earth dragons and earth snakes circled around Xiaohan. Powerful vitality and celestial aura were injected into Xiaohan's body. In an instant, Xiaohan's flesh actually glowed with an intense earthy yellow color. Moreover, each piece of flesh was incomparably strong and impregnable. Xiaohan's entire body was glowing with an earthy yellow luster. It seemed like his body, cells, and meridians, his blood vessels had all evolved into celestial bodies, stars, meteorites, stars. It actually gave off a sense of immortality. Later on, Xiaohan's blood vessels and meridians also glowed with a divine luster. Every drop of his blood seemed to have evolved into yellow crystals. His blood had almost solidified. It was as solid as gemstones and heavenly crystals. The surface of his skin was even more dazzling. It released a terrifying defensive ability. Moreover, the current Xiaohan. Not only did his defensive ability increase, but his strength was also increasing. The power of his body broke through the shackles and continued to soar. Xiaohan's celestial aura became stronger and stronger. It shone brightly. At this moment, it was the earth god demon subduing pearl. Once again, another fragment flew out. Boom! The fragment moved horizontally. It was like a mountain pressing down on Xiaohan. This time Xiaohan no longer hesitated. He was very familiar with it. He activated his great accomplishment natal saber intent and once again cut this fragment into billions of earthy yellow light spots. He absorbed it again. Refine. Nourishing. Who said that mortals can't refine immortal artifacts? Finally Xiaohan let out a loud, triumphant laugh. Of course, a mortal refining an immortal artifact was something that could only happen to Xiaohan. In the vast universe there were countless ordinary planes. No mortal, no matter if they were at the Tower Master level or the Elder level, could refine the Earth God Demon subduing pearl immortal artifact like Xiaohan. This was because Xiaohan had several prerequisites to refine immortal artifacts. None of them could be missing. First, the powerful strength of his flesh. Second, he had the starry sky and earth attributes in his body. Third, the great accomplishment saber intent, the supreme saber energy that could cut through the void. Fourth, the mental strength that was comparable to an immortal. These conditions had to be met at the same time to be able to refine this immortal artifact. Otherwise he would definitely not be able to refine it. Instead he would go mad and self-destruct. Right now Xiaohan was like a Taotai, gulping down the incomparably pure energy of the earth like a whale. His body was surrounded by yellow air currents, surging and filled with immortal energy that couldn't be found in the mundane world. This energy was bright, pure, noble, and holy. It was like heaven, like the world of immortals. Xiaohan's body was also becoming more and more detached from the mundane world. Deep in his pores, the purest immortal energy was born. Clouds shot out, immortal energy overflowed, and all sorts of strange phenomena appeared. Xiaohan's body was being transformed. Every cell, every blood vessel, seemed to have been opened up into an independent world. Inside the blood vessels, the cell walls crystallized, forming a spatial crystal wall. This spatial crystal wall was 10 times, no more than 100 times stronger than the spatial crystal wall of the mundane world Xiaohan was in, and the thickness was still increasing. The increase in strength was even more shocking. This is the body of an immortal? So magical. In the lounge where Jialanzi was, he was about to make a move to save Xiaohan and prevent the immortal artifact fragment from shattering Xiaohan. At this moment, Jialanzi's heart suddenly trembled. What's going on? Jialanzi, who had always been calm, couldn't help but let out a heart-wrenching howl. All the chaos, all calm. The entire Yaoxia pagoda is peaceful. Moreover, the entire Yaoxia region is now full of immortal energy. Where is this immortal energy coming from? Xiaohan. Brother Xiaohan. He has successfully absorbed the immortal artifact. He is absorbing the Earth God's demon subduing pearl. Roar. What's going on? Brother Xiao is immortal. How can he refine and absorb an immortal artifact? There is absolutely no such logic in this world. Even I, who is known as a peerless genius in the vast celestial realm, can't refine and absorb the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl. But Brother Xiao has done it. Jialanzi had completely lost the demeanor and bearing of an immortal. He started barking at the top of his lungs, as if he had seen a great miracle that even the celestial realm had not seen in billions of years. Chapter 574. At this point, Xiao Han's cultivation in the secret mind room had gradually stabilized, and he was on the right track. He unleashed his saber intent, broke down the fragments of the celestial artifact, and activated the indestructible golden body incantation to refine them. Everything that was supposed to be heaven-defying and impossible for a mortal was accomplished by Xiao Han in one go. In just a few days, the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl broke down into dozens of fragments, which were all refined by Xiao Han. Now only a small half of the sphere was left and it was preparing to fall off. Xiao Han's body from the inside out was filled with immortal qi. His body had been completely transformed and he had completely ascended. He was no longer mortal and had evolved into an immortal body. It was not the so-called half-immortal physique, but an authentic immortal physique. The supreme body that could only be created in the immortal world had now been created by someone in the mortal world. After I've completely refined the world origin energy of the celestial world, I'll look for Brother Jialan to evaluate my current celestial physique. However, I can feel that every single strand of my hair is filled with unimaginable power. If I were to encounter the divine sword sun again, hey! Xiao Han's eyes were filled with an incomparably powerful and domineering confidence. In Jialanzi's lounge. After a few days of shock and barking, Jialanzi finally calmed down and stood by the window looking out. I didn't expect Brother Xiao to succeed. The Earth God's demon-subduing pearl was absorbed by him. Moreover, he refined the celestial weapon. The speed at which an immortal body was created. Very quickly, it had only been a few days. For example, in the immortal realm, it would take more than a few days to create an immortal body. Moreover, even a level 3 true immortal or a level 4 true immortal would need a few years to refine this magic treasure, which was quite famous in the immortal realm. Although I don't know how Brother Xiao Han managed to refine this magic treasure, I have no idea. However, to break up the whole into parts, Brother Xiao Han must have cut a celestial artifact into countless pieces before absorbing and refining it. Jialanzi seemed to have been inspired. His eyes glowed as he fell into deep thought. The highest floor of the Yaoxia Pagoda. The 12 elders and the rest of the ancient authorities were astounded. It couldn't be any better. Just a few days after Xiao Han cultivated in seclusion, the atmosphere of the entire Yaoxia domain changed drastically. In the entire Yaoxia region, immortal energy drifted about everywhere. Many immortal trees grew. The flowers and plants of the immortal world attracted colorful butterflies, and countless birds chirped as they wandered through the forest. The immortal flowers that covered the mountains and plains were as bright as clouds and brocades. Some young and beautiful female heroes walked among the flowers in the mountains curiously. They were like fairies walking on the waves, walking in the picture. All kinds of colorful birds flew in the Yaoxia domain. These birds were species that did not exist in the secular world. They were some sparrows and turtle doves. After entering the Yaoxia domain, they were nourished by the immortal qi auspicious clouds and precious clouds and evolved into immortal birds. There were also some butterflies that had evolved. Their wingspans exceeded a meter, which was extremely magical. Even the soil of the entire Yaoxia region became fragrant, colorful, and emitted the fragrance of medicine. This kind of soil could not be found anywhere else in the mortal world. It was already the soil of spiritual medicine. If mortals ate this soil, they would definitely get rid of all kinds of diseases and increase their lifespan. The warm air surged and the Yaoxia region was like spring all year round. The atmosphere of the immortal world. Finally, an elder said incoherently and tremblingly, "Look at the current Yaoxia region. It's impossible to have such an atmosphere in the mortal world. Could this be the immortal world? Leader Xiao Han, what is he cultivating? He actually made our Yaoxia region almost turn into the immortal world. Unbelievable. Leader Xiao Han is cultivating immortal skills?" Another few days passed. The Earth God Demon Subduing Pearl was about to be completely absorbed and refined by Xiao Han. Hey! Xiao Han stood up slightly and stretched his body. Rumble. Space exploded. Xiao Han stood up slightly and straightened his back. His aura suddenly soared into the sky like a mountain rising from the ground, towering, majestic, and imposing. The surface of Xiao Han's skin was shining, and every pore cell was enshrouded with immortal qi. The immortal qi rose above Xiao Han's head and condensed into immortal world runes. In the depths of these immortal world runes, a gate of the immortal world vaguely appeared. The patterns on it were very mysterious, and an ancient and supreme aura bloomed. Poof! Another fragment of the earth god demon subduing pearl fell off. Xiao Han's spirit wave wrapped around it, and then he skillfully activated his saber intent to cut it. Countless spots of holy yellow light surged toward Xiao Han like a swarm of bees, and then merged into Xiao Han's body in an extremely harmonious manner without the slightest rejection. This caused Xiao Han's body to become more and more dazzling, shining with boundless light. His immortal body became more condensed and solid. It was approaching perfection. As Xiao Han condensed his immortal body, the phenomenon of the entire Devil Hero domain also became more and more magnificent, causing this part of the secular world to completely evolve into a corner of the immortal world. Countless Devil Heroes came to pay their respects. As for Jialanzi, he also warned the 12 elders of the Devil Hero Tower to immediately seal the news and not let the people of the secular world come to disturb Xiao Han. Jialanzi also used a huge amount of immortal force to wrap the Devil Hero domain, so that the aura of Xiao Han condensing his immortal body would not spread out. Tao Meizi, who was residing in the Yaoxia Pagoda, was also startled as he ate and drank to his heart's content. He met up with Jialanzi to witness this rare miracle. Immortal condensed an immortal body in the secular world. Tao Tai mumbled while gnawing on a piece of chicken leg. His eyes were blurry. Moreover, it's an immortal body created by refining an immortal tool. The foundation of this immortal body is incomparably strong. It seems that Brother Xiao Han is not only the king of the secular world. In the future, when he reaches the immortal world, he will also be able to command the world. Tao Tai patted his big belly. Even if I have the stomach of Tao Tai, it's also impossible for me to refine a great immortal weapon like the Earth God's demon subduing pearl in a short period of time. Brother Tao Tai, I have also been shocked for several days. Now I am also numb. I will wait for Brother Xiao to come out of seclusion and see what degree of immortal body he can condense. Jialanzi smiled slightly. Brother Tao Tai, you must know. Brother Xiao has a special immortal physique created by refining magic treasures. The Starry Heaven's sovereign physique. You should know what a special immortal physique is. Yes, a special immortal physique. It's much stronger than ordinary immortal physiques. Among the same level 1 immortal physiques, special immortal physiques were at least twice as powerful as ordinary ones. In terms of immortal physique alone, it was a level 2 special immortal physique. It's comparable to an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. Tao Tai also had a rough idea. I reckon that it's about time for Brother Xiao to come out. Brother Tao Tai, let's get ready to welcome them. Ah! Jialanzi roared with laughter. The Eastern Region. A prosperous empire in the Eastern Region, the Prosperous Sea Empire. At this time, in the back garden of the Prosperous Sea Empire's imperial palace, several youths with immortal charm were casually sitting next to carved stone chairs. They were just casually sitting there, but they gave people the feeling of looking up to a tall mountain. The tip of their eyebrows and the corner of their eyes were like a sovereign overlooking the world, dominating the 8 desolates. Among them, the one with the most outstanding temperament was a young man wearing a light yellow robe. This young man looked to be in his early 20s. He had an extraordinary temperament. His face was angular and his whole body was like a god. His eyes were like the most dazzling stars in the night sky, able to attract countless rays of light. He stood up with his hands behind his back and his back straight. It was as if his body contained an immortal sword that could pierce the blue sky. His whole body seemed to be able to support the blue dome of heaven. The aura on his body made people want to kneel on the ground and deeply worship him. His willpower was extremely strong. Suddenly, the Divine Sword Son, who was injured by Jialanzi and forced to retreat, actually appeared here. At this moment, the Divine Sword Son's aura was extremely dispirited. His eyes were filled with endless resentment and hatred, and his teeth were clenched. Ha ha ha, Divine Sword Son. Ah, I didn't expect you to end up like this. Ah, this is really funny. A young man in red robes even had a terrifying scene of magma boiling in his eyes. Divine Sword Son, I didn't expect you to be crippled after coming to the mortal world. Haha, even your grade has dropped from a level 2 true immortal to a level 1 true immortal. Ah, how many dragons of immortal strength do you have now? I'm afraid there's not much left. Umph. The divine sword son snorted coldly and resentfully. The veins on his forehead were bulging. What? Divine sword son, you're not convinced? We just said a few words and you want to explode? Another young man in blue robes said coldly. If it wasn't for Heaven's Son who helped you hide your aura, I'm afraid you would still be chased to death. You, a dignified immortal, actually came to the mortal world and ended up in such a sorry state. You're like a stray dog. What else do you have to say? You're a disgrace to the geniuses of the immortal world. Roar. Xiao Han. Xiao Han. I, the divine sword son, will definitely not let you go. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to exterminate your entire family. I'm going to kill your entire family. The divine sword son finally let out a beast-like roar. Xiao Han? The young man in light yellow robes who was standing with his hands behind his back suddenly spoke. His voice was extremely indifferent, as if he was indifferent to everything. It made one's soul tremble and could not help but feel fear towards him. Divine sword son, what's going on between you and Xiao Han? He's immortal and his level of existence is very different from us. He's worse than pigs and dogs. Why would he talk back to you? Why would he have such guts? Xiao Han is a beast. He's nothing special, but he has Jiao Lanzi's support. The divine sword son said with deep resentment. Heaven's Son, with Jiao Lanzi's support, Xiao Han will definitely not give you the quota. In the immortal world, you and Jiao Lanzi are like fire and water. Now that Jiao Lanzi has Xiao Han under control, he will definitely take the opportunity to suppress you. Oh? Is that so? Suddenly, a domineering aura burst out from Heaven's Son's body. It was as if an emperor had descended and looked down on everything. To be continued. Chapter 575. Divine Sword Son, what is the cause of this matter? Tell me in detail and don't leave anything out. Heaven Emperor Heaven calmed his aura and emotions and said coldly. Okay, I'll tell you. Divine Sword Son's eyes rolled a few times and he quickly said. This Xiao Han is just an ant-like mortal. However, his character is extremely arrogant and aloof. Arrogant? What right does a mortal have to be arrogant? As soon as these words came out, the immortals in the Imperial Garden all voiced their dissatisfaction at the same time. Heaven Emperor Heaven glared at them and these immortals did not dare to say anything else. Divine Sword Son, continue. Heaven Emperor Heaven said indifferently. Yes, in short, this Xiao Han is arrogant. He kept saying that after a few years he would be the one to distribute the spots to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. If he wanted to give a spot, he would give it to whoever he wanted. If he didn't want to give it, then he definitely wouldn't give it. He can even use this matter to extort us to raise his own status and ruthlessly humiliate us immortals. What a wolf's ambition. Divine Sword Son gritted his teeth and said. Of course, a mortal would not dare to be so presumptuous in front of us immortals even if he ate dog's guts. However, Jiao Lanzi is supporting him. In the immortal world, Jiao Lanzi is a person who thinks highly of himself. His sect is known as the #1 sect in the immortal world. He views all the other sects in the immortal world as evil devils. The current situation is that Xiao Han has been completely controlled by Jiao Lanzi. The two of them are in cahoots with each other. They are roaming the entire plane, searching for immortals like us who have descended here to decide who the quota belongs to. If we immortals give Jiao Lanzi and Xiao Han enough treasures, they will give us the quota. If we don't accept their exploitation, then they will not give us the quota. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given us a spot, causing us to descend and return empty-handed, wasting the sect's painstaking efforts. Before this, Jiao Lanzi and Xiao Han took the initiative to look for me and demanded that I hand over all the treasures I had on me. Moreover, they want me to kneel. This is ridiculous. Of course I would resist. That Jiao Lanzi was vicious and merciless, directly attacking me. If I hadn't used a life-saving magic treasure given to me by the sect in advance, I'm afraid I would have died. I've already died at the hands of Jiao Lanzi. Even so, Jiao Lanzi still beat me to the point that my grade dropped. Roar. How presumptuous. A mere mortal actually dared to force an immortal to kneel. How ridiculous. This is a provocation to the entire immortal world, said a pointy-faced man, his whole body surging with killing intent. Puny mortals, you should be respectful when you hear that we immortals have descended. Now he still wants us to lower our status. Moreover, he wants to allocate the quota himself. Looks like this Xiao Han, we need to properly deal with him. Killing him was impossible, but he could bring his family back to the sect. All of his relatives were killed, tortured, and humiliated. However, The blue-robed youth who had mocked the divine sword son earlier said. He frowned slightly and said. According to the divine sword son, Jialanzi is currently controlling Xiao Han. Xiao Han's actions are very likely to be instigated by Jialanzi behind the scenes. After all, a mortal, a dog-like existence could not possibly have such guts. Mortals are scared out of their wits when they see us immortals, yet they still dare to allocate the quota? It's obvious that Jialanzi is using Xiao Han to knock us down. Son of Heaven, you and Jialanzi are tit for tat in the immortal world. This time, I'm afraid that Jialanzi wants to take advantage of this opportunity to deal with you. If he treats you like how he treated the divine sword son and makes you kneel, then... Son of Heaven fell into deep thought. Son of Heaven, what should we do now? We have always followed your lead. You make the decision to deal with Jialanzi and Xiao Han. We will listen to your arrangements. These few immortals, one by one, looked at Son of Heaven. Right now, the situation is unfavorable for us. Son of Heaven slowly said. The 2 immortal keys to enter the 2nd floor of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure have a protective effect on the mortals who obtain the immortal keys. This causes us immortals to be cautious and not dare to kill these mortals. If not for this, I would have gone to take Xiao Han's head right now, cut him into 8 pieces and execute his entire family. However, we cannot act recklessly against Xiao Han now. Moreover, with Jialanzi protecting Xiao Han, it will not be that easy for us to succeed. Are we just going to sit here and wait for death? Allowing a clown like Xiao Han to come and look for us? Allocating the quotas? If he does not give us the quota, are we going to return to the immortal world with our faces covered in dirt? If that's the case, when we return to the immortal world, we will have no face left. We will be laughed at by the other disciples of the sect. We must get the quota. Moreover, we are not begging Xiao Han to lower our status to please him, but to control him. Son of Heaven's eyes were brewing with the taste of conspiracy. Son of Heaven, what brilliant plan do you have? This matter is not difficult for me, Son of Heaven. Listen, contact some of the immortals who are on good terms with us to deal with Jialanzi and Xiao Han together. We will lure Jialanzi away and then capture Xiao Han alive. As long as we capture Xiao Han, I have at least 1,000 ways to torture him and make him obediently listen to our orders. At that time we can order Xiao Han around like an animal. Moreover, after we enter the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure and Xiao Han loses his value, we can directly torture him to death. Son of Heaven's eyes reflected an extremely sinister and cruel expression. As for Xiao Han's family, relatives, and even anyone related to Xiao Han, all of them must die. Now go to the secular world and check on Xiao Han's information. If he has a wife and children, then we can find some of the dirtiest beggars in the secular world and ravage his wife in front of him. We will let Xiao Han know the consequences of offending us. We will also let him know that following Jialanzi was a mistake. When Emperor Tsang uttered such malicious words, his emotions were actually very calm. It was as if he was just talking about some trivial family matters. This made this person even more cruel and terrifying. After we control Xiao Han, I will deprive Jialanzi of the right to enter the 2nd floor of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. We will counterattack this arrogant Jialanzi. Son of Heaven revealed a demonic smile. Good. Emperor Tsang, let's act according to your plan. We'll find a chance to lure Jialanzi over and capture Xiao Han like a little chick. As long as we capture Xiao Han, we'll have a firm hold on everything. We'll rule over everything. The immortals nodded in agreement. At this time, Son of Heaven looked at Divine Sword Prince with a mocking gaze. Why, Divine Sword Prince, you should have returned to the immortal world by now, right? You can no longer obtain the right to enter the 2nd floor of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Moreover, even if you go to other mundane worlds, you will not be able to compete with the immortals from other mundane worlds. You will also not be able to obtain the right. Even if you are lucky enough to enter the exploration a few years later, with your current strength, I'm afraid, you will inevitably die. Yes, I have no fate with the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. All of my dreams have been shattered. All of this was caused by Xiao Han. I will not return to the immortal world for the time being. I will stay in this world and hide in the dark. I will find a chance to torture and kill all of Xiao Han's family members. I will ravage all of Xiao Han's family members. I will rape all of Xiao Han's wives and concubines. The resentment and hatred in Divine Sword Prince's eyes could not be washed away even with the water of 3 rivers and 5 lakes. Yaoxia region. Yaoxia Tower. Xiao Han was in the spiritual secret room. At this moment, Xiao Han naturally did not know that Divine Sword Prince had colluded with Son of Heaven and was plotting against him. Xiao Han was completing the final refinement of his immortal body. The entire Earth God's demon subduing pearl was almost completely broken down and refined by Xiao Han. Only a small fragment was left. Ah! It's done. Xiao Han suddenly roared. His mental strength surged out like a wave and wrapped around the last fragment, absorbing and breaking it down, completely refining it. Boom, boom, boom. As of this moment, every cell in Xiao Han's body was thrumming with the power to dominate the wildlands. For some reason he felt like he could rip open the gray space of any plane of existence in the mortal world and reach the world of immortals. This is what Brother Jialan was talking about, the second method of ascension for mortals. The first is to cultivate true qi, open the heavenly eye, and then comprehend the laws of the immortal world. Once you pass the heavenly tribulation you can ascend and become an immortal. The second is to cultivate the immortal body and use the immortal body to tear open the space barrier between the immortal world and the mortal world. However, I am not sure if my immortal body can force my way to the immortal world. However, with my current strength, even if I can reach the immortal world, I will definitely not go. If I go to the immortal world, I will also be weak. It is better to temporarily stay in the mortal world. Xiao Han's mind was filled with thoughts. Now Xiao Han's body had completely condensed into an immortal body. His lifespan, power, and intelligence were all rising steadily. Holy light shot out of Xiao Han's eyes. It was vast and boundless, as if his gaze could see through the blue dome of heaven and see the scene of the immortal world. If Xiao Han didn't intentionally restrain his aura, it would be possible to see streams of pure immortal energy erupting from him, forming numerous immortal dragons above his head. They swirled about, roiled about, and seemed capable of plucking the stars and the moon, shattering the river of stars. Every single pore on Xiao Han's body emitted a blinding divine light. With every step he took, the space around him would tremble and even shatter. With every breath he took, the airflow in the entire space would become violent. With my current strength, a casual breath of air can kill a tower master in the mortal world. With a slap of my palm I can kill thousands of tower masters. Moreover, if I meet the divine sword son again, I will not need Brother Jialan to do anything. I will be able to deal with him. Xiao Han was satisfied and officially came out of seclusion. Immortal body. The condensation was successful. Chapter 576. Xiao Han became the first mortal to create a perfect immortal body in the mortal world since the birth of this world. Out of seclusion. Welcome back, Leader Xiao Han. Congratulations, Leader Xiao Han. Your cultivation has risen again. Leader Xiao Han's immortal aura is extraordinary. We sincerely worship you. Leader Xiao Han is invincible. Long live, glorious. The 12 elders led a large number of ancient giants outside to welcome him. All of them knelt and bowed their heads deeply, their faces full of pride and submission. Ha ha ha. Brother Xiao. I didn't expect you to succeed. This is truly a heaven-defying matter. Jialanzi and Taotai also stood side by side, sincerely congratulating Xiao Han. Brother Jialanzi, Brother Taotai. Xiao Han gestured for the elders and all the ancient giants to stand up and go about their own business. Then Xiao Han also walked towards the two immortals, Jialanzi and Taotai. Gentlemen, let's find a lounge to talk in. I've just condensed an immortal body, and there are many things I don't understand. I'd like to ask you too. Good. Jialanzi and Taotai nodded repeatedly in agreement. In a quiet, spacious lounge with a beautiful environment. Before this, Jialanzi had already used some methods to test Xiao Han's immortal body. After the test, Jialanzi was completely stunned. Perfect. This immortal body is simply perfect. Jialanzi repeatedly exclaimed. Brother Xiao, this is the earth attribute of the special immortal body, the starry sky dominator body. With this kind of immortal body, its defensive power is extremely tyrannical. Huh? Xiao Han looked at Jialanzi with a face full of curiosity. Jialanzi sorted out his emotions and took a long time to calm himself down. Then he took a sip of tea and slowly said, in terms of the quality of this immortal body, it is not inferior to Taoye's ancient Taotai immortal body. However, Taoye's ancient Taotai immortal body, it has the divine ability of devouring. And Brother Xiao, your starry sky dominator body specializes in defense. Brother Xiao, listen carefully to what I have to say. Jialanzi looked at Xiao Han with a serious expression. I've told you before. A level 1 true immortal must have a level 1 immortal physique. A level 1 immortal physique represented the physical strength of 1 to 10 immortal dragons. Moreover, the strength of 1 to 10 immortal dragons was needed to break the defense of a level 1 true immortal. It broke through the defenses of their immortal bodies. Similarly, a level 2 immortal body of a level 2 true immortal would have the strength of 11 to 20 immortal dragons. Xiao Han nodded slowly. Yes. 1 immortal dragon power is equivalent to 10 trillion cauldrons of power in the mortal world. Brother Xiao, you are now a level 2 starry sky dominator. Jia Lanzi said excitedly. Level 2 star dominator body? In other words, a level 2 immortal physique? Xiao Han was surprised. A level 2 starry sky dominator body is naturally a level 2 immortal body. However, it is not an ordinary level 2 immortal body. Jia Lanzi explained vividly. An ordinary level 2 immortal physique. That's about the physical strength of 11 to 20 immortal dragons. Brother Xiao, your level 2 starry sky dominator body only has 11 to 20 immortal dragons in terms of pure strength. In other words, a level 2 star dominator body and a level 2 ordinary immortal body were equally matched in terms of power. But the defense of a level 2 star dominator. It's equivalent to an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. Jia Lanzi's eyes lit up. I understand. The star sky dominator body wasn't outstanding in terms of strength, but its defense was strong. The defense of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique? In other words, only someone with the power of 31 to 40 immortal dragons can hurt me? Only then can you break my defense? Xiao Han was completely excited. Brother Jialan. The immortals who descended here today are all level 2 true immortals. Their immortal energy does not exceed 20 dragons. In other words, the true immortals who descended here are all true immortals. You can't even break my defense? This? Brother Xiao, that's not the case. Tao Tai also expressed his opinion. First of all, in terms of offense, Brother Xiao, you have a level 2 immortal physique, so you can unleash the strength of 11 to 20 immortal dragons. However, the immortals that descended here have all cultivated immortal spells. Among them, there are all sorts of defensive methods and their lightning-fast movement techniques. If you really fought them, you might not be able to defeat them. You only have a strong immortal physique, but you know nothing about techniques and immortal spells. I understand. It's like in the mortal world, a barbarian with infinite strength is fighting against a martial arts expert who is very agile and skillful. Although the barbarian has great strength, he might not be able to hit the martial arts expert. Xiao Han nodded. So, Brother Xiao, in the celestial world, celestial energy, celestial arts, and Dharma treasures are the mainstream. Once a celestial body is strong enough, there must be a corresponding celestial energy. Unless the immortal just stands there and doesn't use any immortal spells or Dharma treasures, allowing you to attack them freely. In other words, the level of the immortal physique is so high that it can crush the immortal spells and Dharma treasures of low-level immortals. Secondly, Brother Xiao, although your defense is as strong as a level 4 immortal physique, when facing the immortals who descend, their immortal chi power is less than 20 immortal dragons. However, they can use immortal techniques to increase their attack power. Moreover, they can use their treasures to tangle with you continuously. I'm afraid that you will also be injured, Tao Tai continued. I understand. Xiao Han nodded again. Immortal chi power is flexible and changeable. Combined with immortal spells, it's infinitely powerful. I only have brute force and a strong body. I should have no problem protecting myself, but it's difficult to defeat the immortals. Yes, with the level of your immortal physique, it's almost impossible for any of the immortals who descended here to defeat you easily. Of course, you won't be able to defeat these immortals easily either. Self-defense is definitely not a problem, Jia Lanzi said seriously. But if I completely condense the Thunder God Tyrant body and reach level 2 or 3, I'll be able to defeat some of the immortals who descended here. After all, the Thunder God Tyrant body's attack power and tearing power are definitely much stronger than the Star Dominator body, Xiao Han thought. Brother Xiao, I can't hurt you with ordinary immortal chi attacks, Jia Lanzi said with a smile. Jia Lanzi paused for a moment, then continued. Brother Xiao, if you can reach level 3 or 4, then your body will be able to tear through the spatial crystal wall between the mortal world and the world of immortals. You'll be able to reach the world of immortals and become an immortal. You're only a little bit away from that. Plus, you'll have to restrain your current body. The aura of your immortal body can shatter the spatial crystal wall of this plane. That's not a problem, Xiao Han said with a smile. I've cultivated a special type of true chi, the spirit turtle true chi. It can also seal off the aura and power of an immortal body, allowing me to walk through this mundane plane without worrying about damage. As he said that, the talismans on Xiaohan's body surged, conjuring the true qi of the spirit turtle and wrapping around the aura of his immortal body. Immediately, the glistening immortal qi on Xiaohan dimmed, and his presence returned to ordinary. The spirit turtle's true qi really was wondrous and wondrous. In particular, after Xiaohan converted his true qi into a talisman and drastically increased the quality of his true qi, the spirit turtle's true qi that he produced could even shield him from everything, leaving behind no traces. Tisk, there's actually such a mysterious technique in the mortal world. How powerful, extremely powerful. Jialanzi could not help but praise in surprise. Brother Xiao, even I can't easily see through your immortal body now. The other immortals who have descended are probably even more difficult to see through. Haha, if you keep hiding your true strength like this, if you encounter another arrogant person like the divine sword child who provokes and looks down on Brother Xiao, I'm afraid they'll suffer a great loss. Ha 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 ha. Tao Meizi also laughed loudly. The three of them chatted and laughed in a relaxed manner. Now, Xiaohan deeply felt that Jialanzi and Tao Meizi's attitude towards him was becoming more and more equal. They almost completely regarded him as a friend. There was no longer any barrier between humans and immortals. At this point, Xiaohan had completely won the respect of the immortals. Brother Xiao, since you've already condensed your immortal body, then next, let's continue to look for the scattered immortals. There are still many quotas that have not been released. Jialanzi said with a smile. Xiaohan smiled and said, "There's no hurry. Brother Jialan, there are still several years before the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is opened. It doesn't matter if the quotas are released earlier or later. Now I have a plan." Oh. Jialanzi and Tao Meizi were both stunned. "I'd like to hear the details." Jialanzi said. "I'd like to ask Brother Jialan and Brother Tao Tai to help me release a message so that all the immortals who have descended to this plane know about it." Xiaohan said with a confident tone. "What message?" Tao Meizi licked the grease on his fingers. "Now, I'm willing to take out 10 quotas to carry out the bounty." Xiaohan's eyes lit up. 10 quotas to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. These 10 slots could be purchased with Earth Elemental Celestial Pills, Lightning Elemental Celestial Pills, and Psychic Energy Elemental Celestial Pills. Then they could be purchased with Earth Elemental Celestial Artifacts, Lightning Elemental Celestial Artifacts, and Psychic Energy Elemental Celestial Artifacts. 10 quotas, first come, first served. At the same time, Xiaohan looked at Jialanzi. Of course, while offering the immortal pills and magical treasures, we also have to check if they have committed crimes in the mortal plane. If they are like Divine Sword Sun and commit crimes, then even if they have immortal pills, magical medicines, immortal treasures and magical treasures, they will not be given a quota. Instead they will be expelled. Those who have committed the most heinous crimes will be killed. Oh? Brother Xiao, you want to obtain more magical treasures and condense a more perfect immortal body? Good. You really have great ambitions. I also support your plan. As for investigating the character and behavior of the immortals, leave this matter to me. Jialanzi smiled and said. Suddenly, Xiaohan's eyes flashed with a trace of hostility and he said fiercely. Other than these 10 quotas, I'll take out another 2 quotas for the bounty. Bounty for Divine Sword Sun. If you can capture Divine Sword Sun alive, I'm willing to give you 2 quotas. If you bring Divine Sword Sun's head, you can take 1 quota from me. Chapter 577. With great rewards there will always be brave men. This time that Divine Sword Sun is dead for sure. Moreover, the Divine Sword Sun has already been injured by Brother Jialan, causing his rank to drop. If the immortals who descended wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. Now, as long as he dares to show himself, he will be in grave danger. Looks like he can only secretly return to the immortal dimension in order to escape this predicament. Very well. Brother Xiao, I already understand your thoughts. Then you can just wait here for good news. Tao Tai and I will spread the news to all immortals who descend upon this plane, Jialanzi said with a smile. After a pause, Jialanzi asked curiously. Brother Xiao originally had a special dual attribute embryonic immortal physique. In his bloodline, aside from the earth and starry sky attributes, there is also the lightning attribute. Now, Brother Xiao has already perfected the starry heaven's sovereign body. If I can obtain a lightning-attributed immortal pill or dharma treasure and forge the mighty body of the thunder god, I will have a dual elemental immortal body. That would be amazing. After hearing Jialanzi's words, Xiaohan's curiosity was aroused and he could not help but ask. Brother Jialan, you have a dual attribute immortal physique. What is your status in the immortal world? Brother Xiao, true dual attributed immortal bodies are highly sought after in the immortal world. The various sects of the immortal world will fight to recruit them. However, there are also many geniuses in the celestial world. For example, there are those with dual attributes or even those with 3 or 4 attributes. However, no matter what, if Brother Xiao really manages to refine a dual attribute celestial physique, then when you ascend to the celestial world, I can act as a middleman so that Brother Xiao can join my sect. My sect is known as the #1 sect in the celestial world. Countless young celestials are trying their best to enter my sect. Oh. Xiao Han nodded. It seemed that a dual attribute immortal physique had a certain status in the immortal world. Let's see if I can create a dual attribute immortal body. Are there any immortals willing to take out lightning attribute immortal pills and treasures in exchange for a spot? Xiao Han's heart was filled with anticipation. After a full 7 days, the eastern region, Aichang Empire, Imperial Garden of the Imperial Palace. Led by Sun Firmament, a group of immortals gathered together. Prior to this, there were only a few immortals around Heaven Emperor. But now, there were at least 40 to 50 immortals like stars surrounding the moon. They clustered around the Son of Heaven. His body was as sharp as a sword. His eyes were filled with the domineering aura of a sovereign descending upon the world. He had the demeanor of a leader, even if he was standing amongst the group of immortals. Even the Son of Heaven had the grace of a crane in a flock of chickens. This person seemed to be born to be a leader. He had a domineering demeanor. However, the 40 to 50 immortals surrounding Emperor Chang all had one thing in common, and that was, their eyes were filled with a strong sense of defiance, deep wildness, and even unscrupulous cruelty and ruthlessness. Of the immortals Xiao Han had encountered before, such as Master God Diviner and Master Taotai, Master God Diviner and Master Taotai, Shiyangzi Jialanzi, these immortals all had the demeanor of sages. They were kind and aloof from worldly affairs. On the other hand, the immortals surrounding the Son of Heaven were too ruthless and violent. They had the ferocity of devouring the void and slaughtering all living things at any time. Everyone here is quite friendly with each other in the immortal world. Although I don't have much interaction with some of my friends, I believe that all of you should have heard of my name, Son of Heaven. The Son of Heaven said coldly and arrogantly. Although this group of immortals was arrogant and unruly, they were obedient in front of the Son of Heaven and under the deterrence of his aura. So much so that they even revealed a deep fear towards Son of Heaven, and fear. Son of Heaven, let's cut the nonsense. You're known for being ruthless in the immortal world. You even dared to kill a level 3 true immortal. You're a ruthless character. If you don't agree with your words, you'll cripple an entire family. Of course, we admire your cultivation base and the many magical treasures you have. We're far from being your opponents. Since you've gathered us here today, just announce whatever plan you have in mind. We'll all comply. A one-eyed young immortal said with a cold and stern expression. I think if we don't agree, I'm afraid you'll immediately turn hostile and kill us. So, a wise man submits to circumstances. We all respect you. With that said, the other immortals also nodded their heads. Oh, since everyone is so agreeable, then it saves me, the Son of Heaven, some trouble. The Son of Heaven smiled coldly. The muscles at the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Originally, I was planning to kill a few people to establish my authority. But now it seems that there's no need for that. Then I'll be straightforward. The reason why we descended this time is to enter the 2nd floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure to search for opportunities. However, if we want to search for treasures, we must go through a mortal called Xiao Han. Xiao Han holds the quota to enter the 2nd floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. However, Xiao Han is now under the control of Jialanzi. When the quota is allocated, he wants to extort us, and even humiliate us. Jialanzi is a hypocrite. I believe that all of you are already very clear in the immortal world. You fellows have also committed some crimes after descending. As he spoke, the Son of Heaven's gaze swept across the group of immortals. Futa Z, after you descended, you carried out a massacre in an empire in the western region and killed hundreds of thousands of mortals. Guisha Z, after you descended, you wantonly plundered the beauties of the mortal world and ravaged them. You even kept some female slaves. Rakshasa Z, as a female immortal, you are also extremely lascivious. You actually ravaged the boys among the mortals. In this short period of time, the number of boys who were ravaged and sucked to death by you must have reached 1,000. The Son of Heaven spoke as if he was counting his family's treasures. Obviously, He had already grasped the various crimes committed by these immortals after descending to the mortal world. Mortals are like pigs and dogs. In the eyes of us immortals, they are even worse than beasts. In my eyes, it's understandable for you to descend to the mortal world and ravage these insignificant mortals. Trampling some ants to death won't hurt your merit. However, Jialanzi, that sanctimonious hypocrite, will definitely not think so. He will definitely deprive you of your spots. Yes, I, Shinjianzi, have only killed some mortals and beasts in the mortal world. Jialanzi and Xiaohan actually insulted me and deprived me of my spot to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Not only that, Jialanzi even tried to kill me. Fortunately, I used a magical treasure and saved my life. The Son of Heaven's sword walked out. His eyes were filled with hatred as he spoke while gritting his teeth. Everyone, which of the things you have done in the mortal world are not more rampant than me, the Son of Heaven's sword? Ah. Massacring a city? Raping and pillaging? Ah. Not only will you not get a spot, but you will also be killed by Jialanzi. This? It seemed that this group of immortals was also very afraid of Jialanzi. Now, they looked at each other with a hint of anxiety. Everyone, don't worry. I, the Son of Heaven, have gathered all of you here to form an alliance. We, the immortals, will form a small group to fight against Jialanzi. Moreover, as long as we capture Xiaohan, we will be able to completely control the situation. The Son of Heaven smiled with satisfaction. After all, Jialanzi is the only one guarding Xiaohan. It won't be difficult for us to lure Jialanzi away and capture Xiaohan alive. Since things have come to this, then let's listen to the Son of Heaven. If we don't join forces and wait for Jialanzi and Xiaohan to find us one by one, then with Jialanzi's ability he can kill us if he wants to. He can almost destroy all of us one by one. We can only unite and fight against them. With the Son of Heaven leading us against Jialanzi, we may not necessarily lose. Instead, we have a great chance of winning. Yes, it is imperative for us to join forces and form a small group. Recently, I heard Jialanzi release a message saying that we can use celestial pills, celestial treasures and magical treasures to go to Xiaohan's place to exchange for a spot. How greedy. If we don't join forces, we, the immortals, will be taken advantage of by Immortal. What a scandal. These immortals nodded and then formed a group with the Son of Heaven as the leader. At this time, an immortal looked at the Divine Sword Prince mockingly. Divine Sword Prince, I heard that if we kill you and take your head to see Xiaohan, we can get one spot. If we capture you alive and hand you over to Xiaohan, we can even get 2 spots. Hee. A large group of immortals looked at the Divine Sword Prince. The Divine Sword Prince's hair stood on end. Alright, don't scare the Divine Sword Prince. It's just 1 or 2 spots. We don't want to deal with the Divine Sword Prince and compromise to get them. We want all the spots. We want to control Xiaohan. We want to kill Xiaohan's entire family. We want to make Jialanzi suffer. The Son of Heaven's face revealed a trace of fierceness. The Devil Hero region. The Devil Hero Pagoda. For the past few days, Xiaohan had been cultivating in the Devil Hero Pagoda. Jialanzi and Taotai had already released the news of the exchange spots, so that all the immortals who had descended to this realm knew. What Xiaohan had to do now was to wait. Immortal pills and Dharma treasures are indeed precious. Those immortals must be reluctant to use them to exchange for the spots. However, I'm fishing for those who are willing to take the bait. Xiaohan thought. On this day, Xiaohan, Jialanzi and Taotai were sitting in an elegant resting room, casually sipping tea and chatting. Brother Xiaohan, the news has been out for a few days. However, there are still no immortals with immortal pills and Dharma treasures coming to exchange for the spots. Taotai mumbled. It seems that these immortals are also very patient. Not necessarily. Jialanzi smiled slightly. The key problem is that Brother Xiaohan only wants Thunder Attribute, Starry Sky Earth Attribute and Mental Force Attribute. These are the 3 types of immortal pills and Dharma treasures. Brother Xiaohan doesn't want any of the other attributes. Suddenly Xiaohan gathered his mental force. They're here. Several immortals are approaching the Devil Hero region. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.